Chapter 8:10. In the vast starry sky, amidst the grey clouds, huge palaces floated up and down. The one in the center was surrounded by stars, majestic and imposing. The atmosphere in the Qilin Sacred Hall was stagnant. The appearance of the Qilin Pavilion's young master and the intention to force a marriage was obvious. Lin Yuzhen stood up and didn't say anything as she walked out of the hall. "Your Highness wants to leave just like that?" On the main seat, the Qilin Pavilion master stood up and said calmly. "Why?" Lin Yuzhen stopped and turned around to look at the figure in the hall. She said coldly, "Pavilion master still wants to force a marriage?" "That's not it. However, the Qilin Pavilion isn't a place where your Highness can come and go as you wish." The Qilin Pavilion master said indifferently. "Is that so?" Lin Yuzhen's expression turned cold as she said, "Then this queen wants to see how the Qilin Pavilion will block this queen." After speaking, Lin Yuzhen didn't hesitate as she walked out of the hall. In front of the main seat, the Qilin Pavilion master's eyes turned cold. His figure flashed as he raised his hand to grab the former. The palm force was vast and boundless. Lin Yuzhen turned her head and a phoenix cry swept across, forcefully blocking the palm force that was close to her. With a bang, endless airflow surged around the two of them, lifting up all the tables and chairs in the surroundings. The aftermath whistled as the two of them separated and stabilized their bodies. "Men, capture them," the Qilin Pavilion master said coldly. With a command, figures appeared out of thin air in the originally empty hall. Without saying a word, they joined forces to attack the person in front. "With just the two of you?" Lin Yuzhen snorted coldly as she unsheathed her sword and stabbed it into the ground. Instantly, a surge of vigorous energy rippled out and sent the 10 figures that were close to her flying. "Go!" In a split second, Lin Yuzhen lightly shouted and swiftly rushed out of the hall. Ning Chen took a step and quickly followed. "You guys can't leave." The Qilin Pavilion master's figure flashed and walked out of the hall. Looking at the two of them who were surrounded, he said indifferently, "Your Highness Prince Qi, it's still not too late to change your mind." Lin Yuzhen didn't say anything else. Phoenix Cry sword circulated the energy around her body and the red light was breathtaking. In the open space in front of the hall, the 10 half-step True Realm and 5 True Realms joined forces to attack. The heavens and earth caused the surrounding laws to shake. Lin Yuzhen's figure was like a bolt of lightning. Her entire body was surrounded by lightning as she faced the combined power of everyone. Although his body was not at its peak, Prince Qi's strength was still shocking. Even when the sovereigns joined forces, it was difficult to shake the prestige of a king. With a loud boom, the blood lightning on the Phoenix Cry sword surged, and all the venerables were sent flying a few feet away. When they landed on the ground, they vomited blood. At this moment, in front of the main hall, the Qilin Pavilion took the initiative. The instant they saw that the Qi King didn't have enough time to catch his breath, they gathered vast and vigorous energy in their palms and slapped towards the latter's chest. "I have been waiting for you for a long time." The moment the palm struck, a dazzling green sword was unsheathed. It was so stunning that no one had time to react. Rip! His clothes split open and fresh blood splattered. The Qilin Pavilion master did not have time to react and his left shoulder was instantly injured. Everyone was shocked. No one had expected that Prince Qi's bodyguard, who had always been silent, would erupt with such astonishing power. "Who are you?" Qilin Pavilion master came back to his senses and said in a cold voice. "Without waiting for the information of the battle with the Ji clan, you recklessly wanted to seize the Qi King. Should I say that you are conceited or stupid?" Ning Chen looked at the person in front of him and said coldly. The time set by the Qilin Pavilion was so tight that the Qi King did not have time to recover. However, it also prevented the information of the previous battle from being sent back in time. "Don't continue to fight. Think of a way to leave this place first." At the side, Lin Yuzhen suppressed the surging blood in her body and reminded Ning Chen. Ning Chen nodded and held Taisher horizontally. Immediately, green light blossomed like starlight. The boundless sword intent rose endlessly and shook the heavens and earth. 6 Tao fall together, myriad demonic calamities, supreme forbidden sword. Once he took a step, his body entered the void. 10,000 swords followed and turned into a sword stream that rapidly descended. Doomsday calamity. When the forbidden technique was used, the heavens and earth shook. The terrifying sword stream that continuously descended from the sky broke through layer after layer of formations and forcefully opened a path of survival. Go! When the opportunity appeared, Ning Chen took the Qi King and turned into a stream of light and left. Chase, we cannot let them escape. The Qilin Pavilion Master turned his palm to block the sword stream and shouted. Yes. The Honorable Realm cultivators accepted the order and dashed forward in pursuit. Chao Yin, take the Yin-Yang mirror and chase after them. Do not let them escape from the Great Cloud Formation. The Qilin Pavilion Master looked at the young man behind him and said. Yes. Lin Chaoyin nodded and walked into the sacred palace to ask for the pavilion's immortal artifact. The next moment, the sky above the sacred palace was filled with auspicious light. An ancient bronze mirror with the aura of time appeared. Its abnormally powerful aura completely suppressed the surrounding power of laws. Outside the Qilin Pavilion's halls, Ning Chen brought the Qi King and rapidly advanced in the gray fog. They were extremely fast and disappeared in a flash. After walking for a long time, Ning Chen stopped and looked at the gray fog that seemed to have no end. His eyes narrowed slightly. They should be trapped in the formation. On the side, the Qi King slightly adjusted his breathing and recovered some of his cultivation. He looked around and frowned. Is there a way to break it? The Qi King asked softly. Yes, but it will take time, Ning Chen said. The Qi King turned and looked at the Qilin Pavilion people who were chasing after them. He said seriously, this king will delay them. You focus on breaking the formation. Be careful. Ning Chen nodded and moved 1,000 feet away. He formed a seal with both hands and opened the yellow spring seal, separating the gray fog and focusing on studying the formation's mysteries. 1,000 feet away, Lin Yuzhen looked at the group of people chasing after her. The phoenix cry sword in her hand became even more resplendent. Thunder surged and turned the area into a world of thunder. Everyone arrived and 5 true realm experts took action. They rushed into the sea of thunder and surrounded their bodies with true yuan as they fought against peerless kings. 13 half-step true realm experts joined the battle and took turns attacking and defending with tacit understanding. Phoenix dances 9 heavens. The phoenix appeared and the sword was like a startled swan. Lin Yuzhen circulated her cultivation and moved as if she was dancing. After images swirled in the air as the phoenix danced in the sky. 2 true realm experts and 5 half-step true realm experts flew out covered in blood and vomited blood. When Lin Yuzhen's true yuan ran out, the other 3 true realm experts' palms arrived. Lin Yuzhen condensed her true yuan and took it head-on. Drip. Blood dripped down and dyed her clothes red. Lin Yuzhen stabilized herself. It was the first time she had been injured since the battle started. She won't be able to last much longer. Capture her. The 3 true realm experts saw this and said in a deep voice. The other 8 half-step true realm experts accepted the order and gathered their true yuan. Their auras connected and formed an overturning force that pressed down on the kings in front of them. Lin Yuzhen wiped away the blood at the corner of her mouth. She looked at the true qi clouds in the sky that were growing stronger and stronger. An extremely sharp light rose from her sword and turned into a heaven-splitting sword that slashed towards the sky. When the 2 extremes clashed, the clouds shattered and the sky shook. The clouds disappeared and the sword qi collapsed. The 8 half-step true realm experts suffered a backlash and retreated a dozen steps. In the aftermath, 3 true realm experts rushed forward and sent out palms that had been accumulating their true yuan for a long time. Lin Yuzhen held her sword and lightning spread out, blocking the three experts. With a boom, the injured Lin Yuzhen retreated a few steps and blood flowed out of her mouth. Looking back, Lin Yuzhen saw that the red-clothed figure was still trying his best to break the formation. Lin Yuzhen withdrew her gaze and slashed her sword with her left hand. Blood dripped down and dyed the divine sword red. Blood dyed the divine blade. The cry of the phoenix seemed to have sensed something. The sword body continuously trembled, and an illusory phoenix image rushed into the sky. The wind howled through the 9 heavens. An instant later, Lin Yuzhen's body moved and the image of a phoenix charged towards the 3 experts in front of her. Ugh! The 3 true realm experts worked together to block the attack and blood splattered everywhere. After repelling the enemy with one move, Lin Yuzhen, who had exhausted all her strength, suddenly staggered and vomited vermilion blood. Your Highness Prince Qi, Chao Yin admires you even more. You're still so strong despite your damaged cultivation. As they spoke, a young man with an extraordinary aura walked out of the mist. An ancient mirror that was difficult to distinguish between gold and stone floated above his head. Its aura was so terrifying that it made one's heart tremble. Yin-yang mirror. Lin Yuzhen's expression changed when she saw the mirror above the former's head. Since Prince Qi recognizes this mirror, then give up resisting and come back with me, Lin Chaoyin smiled. Wishful thinking. Lin Yuzhen suppressed the waves in her heart and raised her aura. Then I can only offend you. The yin-yang mirror shone brightly above Lin Chaoyin, and a dazzling radiance like a divine sun shone down on the former's body. The immortal artifact had awakened, and its immortal aura was boundless. Lin Yuzhen felt a tearing pain in her 3 souls, and her consciousness gradually became hazy. The Phoenix Cry sword sensed this and released a bright red light, automatically protecting her. However, the immortal artifact's power was unstoppable. The Phoenix Cry sword let out a mournful cry and its radiance dimmed. Lin Chaoyin stepped forward and condensed Yuan Qi with a flip of his palm, sealing the former's dantian. At this moment of crisis, the surrounding mist suddenly shook violently and quickly scattered. Lin Chaoyin's expression froze, and he subconsciously used the mirror to protect himself. In an instant, the azure sword light pierced through the air and collided with the light. The light and sword qi simultaneously dissipated, and Lin Chaoyin retreated 2 steps, his blood and qi churning violently. Ning Chen supported the unconscious Prince Qi and looked at the young man in front of him with an ice-cold expression. I thought I was already experienced and knowledgeable, but after seeing you today, I finally know what true shamelessness is. Winner takes all. As long as you can achieve your goal, it doesn't matter what method you use. This Prince Qi is useful to my Qilin Pavilion. If you can put her down, you will be my Qilin Pavilion's honored guest. Chaoyin can guarantee that as long as you can step into the true realm, my Qilin Pavilion will tell you all the secrets of the 4th realm, said Lin Chaoyin with a smile. Ning Chen looked at Prince Qi, who was half leaning in his arms, and then looked at the young man in front of him. Is what you said true? This one can swear it. The smile on Lin Chaoyin's face became even more brilliant. Young Pavilion Master's sincerity is truly tempting. Ning Chen said softly and sent the woman in his arms out. Lin Chaoyin's lips curled up, and he took half a step forward to receive her. Unfortunately, I don't care. As he spoke, a terrifying murderous aura erupted, and sword light filled the eyes. Immortal execution opened the Yellow Springs Road again. Chapter 8:11. Outside the Qilin Pavilion, a gray fog filled the air. Suddenly, a sword light soared into the sky, stunning the world. Inside the fog, Lin Chaoyin hurriedly activated the celestial mirror to protect his body. However, the execution immortal sword's sharpness was unparalleled in the world. Ugh! With a painful groan, Lin Chaoyin flew several feet away, his blood staining the fog red. His left arm, which had been destroyed by the execution immortal sword, disappeared along with his shoulder. The power of the slaughter immortal sword was shocking. Ning Chen's figure moved again. The execution immortal sword's baleful aura surged as it slashed toward Lin Chaoyin. You're the ninth son of the Mahist sect. Lin Chaoyin was shocked when he saw the immortal sword in the hands of the person in front of him. He did not care about his injuries and used the celestial mirror to block in front of him. With a boom, the immortal sword and the celestial mirror collided. Lin Chaoyin's body flew out again. The yin-yang mirror's light dimmed, and his aura weakened a lot. Impudent. In the Qilin Pavilion, the Qilin Pavilion's master felt that his only son was in danger. He activated the yin-yang mirror from a distance, and it shone brightly again. Ning Chen sneered and swung his sword. Then, he took a step and quickly left. The sword light and the celestial mirror's light collided and devoured each other. The Qilin Pavilion's master appeared in the aftermath. He looked at the two people in front of him and his eyes darkened. He had miscalculated. He had planned for a long time, but it was disrupted by an outsider. In the next moment, a stream of light flashed. The Qilin Pavilion's master waved his hand and brought the heavily injured people back to the depths of the fog. At the edge of the fog rolled and slowly separated. Ning Chen quickly rushed out with Prince Qi. In an instant, the fog that had separated closed again and returned to normal. In the vast starry sky, it was difficult to determine direction. Seeing that Prince Qi's injuries were not light, Ning Chen did not dare to hesitate and rushed forward with his intuition. Half a day later, Ning Chen put down Prince Qi on a barren planet. He took out some healing pills and stuffed them into Prince Qi's mouth. Then, he used his phoenix essence to catalyze the pills. After doing this, Ning Chen stood up and looked at the stars in the sky, trying to find the direction. He was not familiar with the spirit void starfield. When he was brought to the Qilin Pavilion, he had traveled through space, so it was difficult to determine the direction. As for where the White Emperor's star was, or how far it was from them, they had no idea. After waiting for a long time, Prince Qi still hadn't woken up. Ning Chen frowned. He gathered phoenix essence in his palm and covered the prince's head. Vast amounts of phoenix essence surged in, searching for the source. Half an hour later, a serious look flashed in Ning Chen's eyes and his mind sank. His 3 souls were damaged. How could this be? Is it that mirror? Ning Chen kept his phoenix vitality and murmured softly. Most likely, it had something to do with the ancient mirror. It was not a small matter to injure one's soul. The 3 spiritual and 7 physical souls were the most mysterious things in the human body. Even martial artists could not completely understand their secrets. Once they were damaged, it would be extremely troublesome. Ning Chen pondered for a moment before his figure flashed. He transformed into a phoenix shadow and flew towards the starry sky. Phoenix Cry City, inside the palace, after waiting for several days without seeing Ning Chen and Prince Qi return, Ruoxi and Murongxi's faces began to show signs of worry. Why isn't he back yet? Yin sat in front of the table and was bored out of her mind. Sister Qing Ning, will something happen to the young master? Ruoxi worriedly asked. I won't. Qing Ning shook her head and said, as long as he is prepared, no one in this world can hurt him. But the young master has only awakened one body. His strength has not fully recovered. I'm afraid it won't be easy to deal with a colossus like the Qilin Pavilion. Ruoxi said seriously. One body is enough. Qing Ning calmly said, he only went to protect Prince Qi's safety, not to fight to the death with the Qilin Pavilion. Let's wait a little longer. The Qilin Pavilion is not close to here. He should have been delayed on the way. Nothing will happen to Master. Sister Ruoxi, don't worry. Yin lay on the table and said in boredom, as long as he is not unprepared, when have you ever seen Master suffer a loss? Good people don't live long, bad people live for thousands of years. Her bad master was not a good person. He was full of schemes and tricks. He would definitely live longer than a 1,000-year-old turtle. Hearing the two's words, Ruoxi's worried mood was relieved. She sat on the bed and looked at the girl who was about to go crazy from boredom. How long has it been since you last cultivated? I'm worried about master. I'm not in the mood. Sat up straight and said seriously. Qing Ning patted the girl's head and said, you only know how to find excuses. I don't know why that senior heaven speaker took a fancy to a girl like you. Because I'm smart. Giggled and hugged the former's arm. Your shameless personality is exactly the same as your master. Qing Ning helplessly said. On the side, Murong covered her mouth and chuckled. The worry in her heart also lessened a lot. After traveling for more than 10 days, Ning Chen and the seriously injured Prince Qi finally found a large planet with life. It was still in its primitive stage. The human race was still ignorant. On the primitive planet, seeing the red figure descending from the sky, tens of thousands of natives knelt down in fear and kowtowed to the gods. Ning Chen's gaze swept over the people below. He didn't disturb their lives. His figure flashed and disappeared. Half a day later, in the primitive mountains of the vast planet, Ning Chen searched every inch of land to find medicine for the injured Prince Qi. Because the planet was vast and hadn't been destroyed by humans, Ning Chen found several king medicines. After using his phoenix essence to dissolve their medicinal properties, he had the Prince Qi take them. After waiting for half a month, the unconscious Prince Qi's injuries gradually improved and he showed signs of waking up. Another 2 days later, Lin Yuzhen slowly opened her eyes. After a moment of confusion, she gradually recovered her senses. The tearing pain was still clear, but it had lessened a lot. Lin Yuzhen sat up with difficulty and looked around at the burning bonfire in the cave. A trace of doubt flashed through her eyes. Where is this? Why is she here? You're awake. Not long after, Ning Chen returned and put down the king medicines he had just found. He looked at the person in front of him and smiled. Lin Yuzhen came back to her senses and looked at the former. She responded weakly, thank you for saving me, Brother Ning. You're welcome. You saved me once, and I also saved you once. It's a tie. Ning Chen smiled and walked forward. He made the bonfire bigger and said, we were lucky and found a large planet with life. Otherwise, it would really be troublesome. Good people have good karma. Lin Yuzhen smiled weakly. Ha! Ning Chen chuckled and said, we can't be considered as good people. What does your highness think? Your 3 spiritual souls seem to be damaged. I can only help you stabilize your injuries. The rest can only depend on your highness. I'm fine now. Lin Yuzhen said softly, I can recover after recuperating for a period of time. I really didn't expect that the yin-yang mirror was really in the Qilin Pavilion. This item's power is very terrifying and specializes in attacking the soul. If it wasn't for Brother Ning saving me, I might really not have been able to come back. I promised to bring your highness out safely. Now that your highness has suffered such heavy injuries, I've already broken my promise. Ning Chen responded and continued, does your highness have any plans? The Qilin Pavilion won't let this go so easily. Lin Yuzhen was silent. After a moment, she said calmly, is Brother Ning willing to help me? Oh. Ning Chen looked towards the former and said, what does your highness want to do? Exterminate the Qilin Pavilion. Killing intent flashed across Lin Yuzhen's eyes as she said coldly. When Ning Chen heard that, his hand that was adding firewood paused. Soon after, it returned back to normal. He fiddled with the bonfire and said calmly, the Qilin Pavilion must be joking. Even if I'm willing to help your highness, the Qilin Pavilion isn't something that the 2 of us can exterminate. Your highness should be clearer than anyone else about the foundation that this kind of inheritance can explode out when facing a life and death crisis. As long as the Qilin Pavilion doesn't have the existence of the 4th realm, it's not impossible. Lin Yuzhen said seriously. Your highness should recuperate first. We'll talk about this in the future. After saying that, Ning Chen stood up and walked towards the outside. I'll go and find some medicine for your highness. After saying that, Ning Chen walked out of the cave and his figure disappeared. When Lin Yuzhen saw that, she sighed softly. She was too impatient. This request was indeed too forceful. This time, Ning Chen was willing to take the risk to accompany her to the Qilin Pavilion. She could not ask for more. After all, the friendship between them had not reached that kind of level. In the cave, the bonfire that was burning was crackling. Lin Yuzhen sat in front in a daze. Because her injuries had not healed, her slightly pale face lost some of its domineering aura and had more of a weakness that she didn't usually have. Outside the cave, Ning Chen looked at the dense mountain forest in front of him. His eyes that had experienced the vicissitudes of life flashed past as he walked towards the front. 3 days later, Lin Yuzhen, whose injuries had slightly improved, walked out of the cave while holding onto the mountain wall and walked towards the direction of the sound of water. Ning Chen walked back and looked at the former's back view. He did not walk forward. 3,000 meters away, a beautiful jade pond appeared. The waterfall that was hanging down from the mountain continuously poured into the pond. The surrounding mountains were surrounded by lush green and the scenery was extremely beautiful. Lin Yuzhen stood in front of the pond and took off the clothes on her body. Soon after, she walked into the pond. The pond water was bone-chilling, dispelling the fatigue of many days. Lin Yuzhen's entire body submerged into the water and her mind became clear. Her injuries were no longer a problem and it was time for her to return to Phoenix Cry City. This time, she had incurred the hatred of the Qilin Pavilion and the trouble wasn't small. If she were to continue like this, the result would be even worse. That Mr. Ning was indeed a person who valued relationships. However, he was also an extremely rational person. Other than those few people around him, he was clearer than anyone else. If Mr. Ning wasn't willing to help, then she would have to find a new helper. Dealing with the Qilin Pavilion wasn't a small matter and if she were to ask for help, the price she would have to pay wouldn't be small. Dawn Moon Tower's mistress. Lin Yuzhen stood up and walked out of the pond. This person was indeed not a bad choice. However, businessmen were the most heartless. Without sufficient returns, this person would definitely not make a move easily. Ji Yuechu. Lin Yuzhen thought for a moment and immediately dispelled this thought. Although she had cooperated with the Ji family's sacred master once, Ji Yuechu's identity was special. If he were to make a move to deal with the Qilin Pavilion, it would mean that the Ji family and the Qilin Pavilion would face each other. This possibility was almost impossible. On the shore, Lin Yuzhen put on her clothes. Her fine black hair casually fell behind her back. Because it wasn't dry yet, it wasn't tied up. In front of the cave, Ning Chen looked at the beautiful figure that was walking back and a strange expression flashed across his eyes. Although he always knew that Prince Qi was a girl, it was still the first time he saw her dressed like this. Brother Ning, let's set off on our journey back. Lin Yuzhen walked forward and said softly. N. Ning Chen came back to his senses and nodded in agreement. Chapter 8:12. Phoenix Cry City, Palace. After waiting for nearly a month, even Qing Ning had a trace of worry in her eyes. It's been too long, why hasn't he come back yet? Sister Qing Ning, Master is back. At this moment, rushed in from outside the room and shouted. In the room, Qing Ning immediately got up and walked outside. She saw a heavenly boat coming from the distant horizon. Not long after, it descended from the sky and landed in the palace. Qing Ning stepped forward and looked at the figure walking down from the heavenly boat. Why did you come back so late? There was an accident and I was delayed. Ning Chen's face showed a gentle smile. His Highness Prince Qi is still injured. We'll talk about the details later. Let His Highness go back to the palace to recuperate first. Qing Ning looked over and saw Prince Qi's slightly pale face. She nodded and said, "It's my negligence." Your Highness, how are your injuries? It's nothing serious. I'll be fine after a few days of rest. Lin Yuzhen smiled tiredly and replied. Your Highness, you're finally back. In the main hall, concubine Yun walked out with a surprised expression. She quickly stepped forward and respectfully bowed. Lin Yuzhen nodded and looked at the man beside her. This prince will go to recuperate first. Brother Ning has worked hard for so many days, you should also go back and rest. Ning Chen lightly responded and followed Qing Ning to the west courtyard of the palace. Your Highness, how are your injuries? Concubine Yun was a little worried. Don't make a fuss. Let's talk inside the palace. Lin Yuzhen responded and walked towards the main hall in front of her. In the west courtyard of the palace, Ruo Shi and the others were anxiously waiting. When they saw a familiar figure appear in front of them, they immediately stepped forward. Sir, Ruo Shi whispered. Ning Chen looked at the three people in front of him and smiled. No need to be so nervous, I'm fine. Stepped forward and circled around the former. Her big eyes swept around and suspiciously said, Tell me honestly, why did you come back so late? Did you do something bad? Is this how you talk to your master? Ning Chen raised his hand and knocked the girl in front of him on the head, unhappily. Held her head in pain and waved her small fist in protest. Then she immediately hid behind Qing Ning. Both of you, stop for a moment. Qing Ning looked exasperated. She pulled the maidservant out from behind her and knocked on her head. All right, your master is back. You don't have an excuse to slack off now, do you? Go and cultivate. Then after I finish cultivating, I want Ning Chen to accompany me to play, bargained. All right. Ning Chen smiled and said, Go quickly. He. Smiled happily. Only then did she run back to cultivate in satisfaction. Just let her be. Even I can't control her anymore, Qing Ning said helplessly. Er's cultivation speed is already very fast. When I was her age, I hadn't even reached the Great Circle realm yet, said Murong. Not far away, heard this and stopped in her tracks. She turned around and said, Sister Murong is the best. Qing Ning glared at her. When saw this, she hurriedly ran away. Murong, how is the poison in your body? Ning Chen stepped forward and grabbed the arm of the woman before him. His phoenix essence surged into her body to check her injuries. Fortunately, it hasn't flared up these days, said Murong calmly. After a long time, Ning Chen retracted his phoenix essence and frowned. He wasn't optimistic. The poison had entered his internal organs and was now suppressed by the power of the clear sky lotus breath. However, it couldn't be expelled. Ning Chen, come with me. I have something to tell you, said Qing Ning. Ning Chen nodded and softly agreed. The two walked towards the pavilion in the courtyard. Murong and Ruo Shi tacitly didn't follow. They already knew what had happened, but it was better for Qing Ning to tell him. In the pavilion in the courtyard, Qing Ning's expression gradually became serious. She said, Something happened to Wu Lei. Ning Chen was shocked when he heard this. What's going on? Not long ago, the Ji family was suddenly attacked by a group of extremely powerful enemies and suffered heavy losses. 2 grand elders of the True Realm died in battle. We don't know how many True Realm and Void Realm experts we lost. Wu Lei's seclusion room was affected and failed to break through to the True Realm. We don't know whether she's dead or alive. When Ruo Shi went to pick her up, the Ji family refused to let her in. So far, she hasn't seen Wu Lei. I'll go pick her up now. Ning Chen's eyes flashed with a heavy light. Qing Ning nodded and reminded him, something happened to Ji Yuqing. That's why the Ji family is so sensitive. They won't receive anyone. When you go, try not to clash with them. Ning Chen nodded. I'll be careful. Although Wu Lei and you aren't master and disciple in name, you are. However, if they really don't let her go, you must bring her back by force. Qing Ning sternly said. Don't worry. Ning Chen replied softly, if the Ji family doesn't release Wu Lei, they probably want me to step in. The master of the Ji family isn't a foolish person. It's impossible that he can't weigh the pros and cons, Qing Ning nodded. Be careful. You only have the strength of one person now. The Ji family's affairs are full of mysteries. Don't get involved. Understood. Ning Chen agreed and didn't say anything else. He walked out of the palace. At the same time, in the Phoenix Cry Palace, concubine Yun reported the recent events and waited for Prince Qi's decision. After listening to the former, Lin Yuzhen's expression turned solemn and he quietly pondered. After a long time, Lin Yuzhen collected his thoughts and looked at His Highness. If I'm not wrong, the mastermind who killed the high priest to sow discord between Beiki and the Ji family has appeared. Concubine Yun's eyes trembled. Does Your Highness mean that those mysterious experts are the murderers of the high priest? Yes. Lin Yuzhen nodded. In the conflict between me and the Ji family, whoever appeared and took advantage of the situation is most likely to be the mastermind. At first, I thought it was the Qilin Pavilion. However, it seems that these mysterious experts are more suspicious. In the previous few days of acting, she and Ji Yuechu each had their own plans. Her goal was to beat them at their own game and find the mastermind behind the scenes, while Ji Yuechu wanted to take this opportunity to borrow her strength to suppress the great clan elder's bloodline. However, no one expected that the mastermind behind the scenes would have such astonishing strength, causing the Ji clan to suffer such damage. Your Highness, there's one more thing. After the Ji family's incident, Miss Ruoshi went to the Ji family to pick up Hong Wulei. However, she was rejected at the door. Until now, we don't know whether Hong Wulei is alive or dead, concubine Yun said seriously. Lin Yuzhen frowned. Hong Wulei was also affected in this war. Concubine Yun replied softly, it seems that she was affected when she was trying to break through to the reality realm. She failed and suffered a backlash. It's hard to say whether she's alive or dead. Lin Yuzhen's expression changed slightly. Ning Chen definitely wouldn't sit idly by if Hong Wulei was injured. He should have already moved. White Emperor City, the Ji family. It was a scene of devastation after the battle. All of the Ji family's experts outside had returned. Ning Chen walked over and stopped in front of the Ji family. Looking at two Ji family disciples, he said, please report to the Holy Master that Ning Chen wishes to see him. Please wait a moment. One of the Ji family disciples trembled when he saw the person in front of him. He cupped his fists and walked into the Ji family. Not long after, the Ji family disciple returned and respectfully bowed. Young Master Ning, the Holy Master requests your presence. Please follow me. Ning Chen nodded and walked into the Ji clan, following behind him. The atmosphere in the Ji family's sacred hall was stagnant. Practically all of the Ji family's major figures were present. The experts seated below them all emitted an oppressive pressure. Junior Ning Chen greets the Holy Master. Ning Chen walked into the hall and respectfully bowed. Mo Gate's ninth son. One of the Ji family's grand elders stood up and said, you actually dare to come to my Ji family? You really are brazen. Ji Yuechu didn't say anything to help. He just calmly looked at the youth below. Why wouldn't I dare? Ning Chen looked at the Ji family's grand elders. Those who come are guests. Is this how the Ji family treats its guests? The grand elders of the Holy Master's faction nodded slightly. They had heard the Holy Master mention this youth before. Ignoring his strength, just his courage was not something an ordinary person could compare to. Although the other youths of his generation had already matured quite well, none of them could reach this youth's height. Mo Gate's ninth son, you buried 9 supremes in the ancient battlefield. Now that I've seen you today, you really are extraordinary, smiled one of the Holy Masters. Senior praises me too much. Back then, I only did it to protect myself, said Ning Chen courteously. Scheming and crafty. You're just someone fishing for fame. What's there to be proud of, sneered another Grand Elder. Ning Chen smiled and ignored them. It was no wonder the Ji family's holy master had joined hands with Prince Qi to set up this trap. The Ji family's inner circle was truly not united. Alright, let's not talk too much. At this time, Ji Yuechu finally spoke. I know why little brother Ning has come, and my Ji family has no reason to stop you. However, that girl is heavily injured and won't be able to move for a while. It's better for her to stay in the Ji family. Oh. When Ning Chen heard this, his eyes narrowed slightly, and he said, then can I take a look at Wu Lei's injuries? Holy Master, why are you still being so long-winded? If he and Prince Qi hadn't caused such a ruckus in my Ji family and injured several of our Grand Elders, we wouldn't have suffered such heavy losses this time. Capture this person and make him pay with his life for the souls of our Ji family, said one of the Ji family's Grand Elders furiously. Are you the Holy Master or am I the Holy Master? I don't need you to teach me what to do. Ji Yuechu's expression gradually turned cold. The expression of the Supreme Elder, who had just stood up, suddenly turned extremely ugly. Elder Long, the Holy Master hasn't said anything yet. Are you looking down on the Holy Master's dignity by overstepping your bounds, said a Grand Elder coldly. The Ji family's Grand Elder called Elder Long sat down with an ugly expression, not daring to say anything else. On the main seat, Ji Yuechu looked back at the young man below and said, Miss Wu Lei is recuperating in the United Heart Hall. Men, bring young Master Ning to the United Heart Hall. Yes. A maidservant walked out and bowed respectfully. Then, she led the way. Ning Chen nodded and turned to follow. Just as he walked out of the hall, Ji Yuechu's voice rang in his ears. Little brother Ning, please wait in the United Heart Hall for a moment. I have something to discuss with you. It's about those mysterious experts who came to the Ji family this time. Chapter 8:13. In the United Heart Palace, the maids left and Ji Ming stood quietly beside the bed. He looked at the unconscious Hung Wulei with a pained expression on his face. Wulei had learned sword techniques from him for a while, so he could be considered half a disciple. Compared to Yin, Wulei had experienced more hardships, so he was more mature and worked very hard. He didn't say anything, but he saw it with his own eyes. Effort and reward weren't equal at all times. Wulei's life was relatively bumpy. This time, due to the Ji family's battle, he failed to break through to the corporeal realm. Although he managed to keep his life, the difficulty of breaking through to the corporeal realm next time was unimaginable. On the bed, Hung Wulei's pale face was covered in sweat. The true Yuan backlash after failing to break through to the corporeal realm brought great pain. She couldn't get rid of it even though she was unconscious. Ning Chen sat beside the bed and took a white towel soaked in water. After wringing it dry, he gently wiped the sweat off the girl's face. Perhaps it was because she felt the familiar aura of the person beside her, but the pain on her face eased a little. I really didn't expect the infamous little brother Ning to have such a gentle side. Outside the palace, Ji Yuechu walked in and said, Of course I would feel sorry for the girl I taught. This has nothing to do with reputation, so there shouldn't be anything to be curious about. Ning Chen didn't raise his head and continued to carefully wipe the girl's sweat. Little brother Ning is right. Isn't the reason we work so hard to become stronger so that the people around us won't be hurt? Ji Yuechu sighed and said, Unfortunately, even though I'm the Ji family's sacred master, I still can't protect the people around me. This time, the Ji family suffered a disaster and Yuqing lost her god bloodline. She's also unconscious now. As a father, I failed in my duty. Who did it? Ning Chen put the white towel in water and washed it. He then wrung it dry again and continued to wipe the girl in front of him. Among the leaders that came, there's one that you recognize. It's the mysterious Di Ming Tian who appeared on the ancient path. As for the others, no one has seen them before. But from their auras and moves, they're from the Nether Hall, replied Ji Yuechu. Di Mingtian, Nether Hall. Ning Chen's hand paused, and he frowned slightly. How could they be related? He had fought with Di Mingtian several times, and he didn't feel the unique aura of the people from the Hall of the Underworld on him. I'm not familiar with Di Mingtian. However, the Nether Hall is located at the edge of the Spirit Void, bordering the Hong-1 starfield. It's very far from my Ji family. Logically speaking, there shouldn't be any conflict of interest between them. It's truly strange for them to suddenly fall out with my Ji family, said Ji Yuechu. It's probably because of the Ji clan's god bloodline. On the ancient Starry Sky path, Di Mingtian and his group attacked Miss Ji several times. This time, Miss Ji's bloodline was snatched away. That's proof, Ning Chen replied. Little brother Ning, you might not know this, but only the direct descendants of my Ji family can bear the power of a deity's bloodline. Even if someone else were to take it away, it would be useless. If the Nether Hall did not hesitate to pay any price to launch a sneak attack on my Ji family just to take Yuqing's bloodline power, it really doesn't make sense, Ji Yuechu said in a grave tone. Maybe the answer isn't with Nether Hall. Ning Chen thought for a moment and said, if Nether Hall wanted to snatch Ji family's bloodline power, they wouldn't have waited until today. The real reason should be with Di Mingtian. As long as we find out his identity, the answer might be clear. Hearing this, Ji Yuechu's eyes narrowed. A moment later, he nodded and said, little brother Ning's words make sense. Yuqing said that you're an extremely smart person. She was right. Sacred Lord, you're too kind. Ning Chen said calmly, Sacred Lord, since you asked me to stay, you should have other things to discuss, right? Ji Yuechu nodded and said with a serious expression, Yuqing's bloodline power must be taken back. Otherwise, her life will be completely ruined. I hope little brother Ning can see that you're friends with my daughter and help us this time. Sacred Lord, you want to attack Nether Hall? Ning Chen asked. That's right. Ji Yuechu nodded and said, whether it's for public or private reasons, it's impossible for Ji family to take this lying down. However, Nether Hall used to be one of the strongest palaces in the world. Even though they've lost a lot of their sharpness over the years, their background is still hard to estimate. Ji family's top combat strength isn't enough. I hope little brother Ning can help us. Speaking of this, Ji Yuechu paused for a moment and said, I will personally go to Phoenix Cry Palace to invite Prince Qi. The death of Beiqi's high priest is likely the work of Nether Hall and Di Mingtian. Sacred Lord, there's no need to make this trip in vain. Prince Qi won't agree, Ning Chen replied. Ji Yuechu was startled and puzzled, why? Doesn't Prince Qi want to avenge Beiqi's high priest? It's not convenient for me to reveal the specific reason. Sacred Lord can send someone to send a letter and see if what I said is true, Ning Chen said casually. Hearing this, Ji Yuechu frowned. This really wasn't good news. Prince Qi's strength was extraordinary. He rarely met a worthy opponent in the Third Realm. Without him, their combat strength would be even more lacking. Forgive me for speaking bluntly, but the Ji family should still have some hidden trump cards that haven't been revealed to the world. Sacred Lord, you can consider using them, Ning Chen said. Ji Yuechu regained her senses and shook her head. I won't hide it from you. The Ji family does indeed have these hidden trump cards. However, the reason they are called hidden trump cards is because they cannot be easily activated. Unless it's a life or death situation, even the Ji family's Sacred Lord has no right to use them. That's a pity, Ning Chen said regretfully. Ning Chen said regretfully, Holy Master, please forgive me. There's a lady by my side called Murong who is now deeply poisoned. I have to stay and accompany her. I can't run around anymore. I don't want to see her for the last time when I return. Ji Yuechu frowned. What kind of poison is it? You have phoenix essence. Can't you cure it? Yellow Springs pill. The poison has entered the organs. I can't do anything about it, Ning Chen sighed. Hearing this, Ji Yuechu fell silent. There was no antidote for the Yellow Springs pill. Those who were poisoned were destined to enter the Yellow Springs. Sacred Lord, I want to take Wulei away. I hope Sacred Lord won't stop me. Ning Chen shifted his gaze to the person in front of him and said seriously. Ji Yuechu nodded. It's indeed better for Miss Wulei to stay in the Ji family. However, since little brother Ning insists on taking her away, I won't stop you. Thank you, Sacred Lord. I will remember the Ji family's care for Wulei and Ruoshi. It's getting late, so I'll take my leave first. Ning Chen replied. He extended his hand and carefully picked up the girl on the bed. Soon after, he walked out of the hall. Outside the United Heart Hall, the Ji family's guards tensed up when they saw the red-robed young man walking out. Ning Chen walked past the guards. His expression was calm, without the slightest fluctuation. Inside the United Heart Hall, Ji Yuechu walked out and looked at the figure in front of her. Sacred Lord, are we going to let him take her away just like that? An old figure appeared and asked. Ji Yuechu's eyes flashed. This child's strength and wisdom are unfathomable. Since he dares to come to the Ji family, he must be prepared. If he doesn't want to help, it's useless even if we force Hong Wulei to stay. It's not worth it to threaten him with this matter. What do we do about Yuqing? Nether Hall isn't easy to provoke. With the current strength of my Ji family, it will be difficult for us to go to Nether Hall and force them to hand over Yuqing's bloodline strength. The old man worriedly said. Nether Hall. Ji Yuechu's eyes flashed with a cold light. They had to take back Yuqing's bloodline strength. It seemed that they would have to give up a portion of the benefits and drive the tiger to swallow the wolf. Immediately send a message to the pavilion masters of Qilin Pavilion and Heaven Mending Pavilion. Tell them that I have something to discuss with them. Ji Yuechu said. The old man was shocked. Sacred Lord, I'm afraid, there's no need to say anything. Just do as I say. Ji Yuechu lightly said. Yes. The old man was helpless. He respectfully accepted the order. Phoenix Cry Palace, in a courtyard on the west side, Ning Chen returned with Hong Wulei. Qing Ning had been waiting for a long time. As she saw the pale face of the girl in Ning Chen's arms, her expression changed. How are Wulei's injuries? Qing Ning worriedly asked. Her life isn't in danger, but her injuries are heavy. She will need a long time to rest. Ning Chen replied. Will it affect her in the future? Qing Ning worriedly asked. Ning Chen sighed. He nodded. If there aren't any special circumstances, then Wulei might never be able to step into the corporeal realm in her life. Qing Ning's body shook and a trace of sadness flashed in her eyes. Wulei's efforts were no less than anyone else's. It would be difficult for her to accept such a result when she woke up. Bring Wulei into the room first. Qing Ning softly said. Ning Chen nodded. He held the girl in his arms and walked into a nearby room. Inside the room, Ning Chen placed Wulei down. He looked at Qing Ning and asked, Where are Murong and Ruoshi? The two of them went out to buy medicinal herbs. Murong is skilled in alchemy. Although she has lost her cultivation, her understanding of medicinal properties is still incomparable to that of an ordinary person. Wulei has failed in breaking into the corporeal realm, so she will need medicinal herbs to help her. Qing Ning replied. Ning Chen nodded. He looked at the unconscious girl on the bed and sighed inwardly. Truly, fortune never came in pairs and misfortune never came alone. Murong's matter had already left him feeling powerless, and now something had happened to Hong Wulei. Ning Chen, do you still have a chance to recover your two bodies? Qing Ning asked. Ning Chen thought for a moment and said, My demonic body might be able to. As long as there's enough demonic energy to stimulate it, there should be a chance. As for my main body, I don't have any good methods for the time being. The immortal tree needs too much spiritual energy to recover. If my main body wants to recover, it's almost impossible in a short period of time. Back then, the immortal peach tree had only been able to bloom and bear fruit within 100 years because of the Jade Lake's water and the time restriction. Now that the Jade Lake's water had been used up and the main body was unconscious, it couldn't cultivate on its own. Qing Ning gently nodded and said, "Once the matter here is resolved, we should try our best to recover the demonic body. Then we can find a way to recover the main body." Just as the two of them were conversing, the void in the Ji clan's sacred hall churned and two illusory figures walked out. Powerful auras covered the sky and earth. Even though it was just an illusion, it still made people feel extremely pressured. "Holy Lord of the Ji family, why have you invited us here?" Qilin Pavilion Master asked. Chapter 8:14. Within the Ji family's sacred hall, the sect masters of the two pavilions and one faction were gathered. The entire hall was filled with an abnormally powerful aura. "The two of you should be able to guess why I invited the two of you here. With the revival of Nether Hall, I hope that the Qilin Pavilion and Heaven Mending Pavilion can once again conquer Nether Hall with my Ji family." Ji Yuechu looked at the two illusory figures floating in the air. "Oh. Conquer Nether Hall. Sacred Master must be joking. In these years, my Qilin Pavilion and Nether Hall have never had any conflicts. Why would we take the initiative to provoke this sleeping lion?" "Qilin Pavilion Master, you're right." The Heaven Mending Pavilion Master said coldly, "No one knows how much strength Nether Hall still has. Why would we take the initiative to provoke them? Moreover, Nether Hall is in Spirit Void, and my Heaven Mending Pavilion is in Hung One Star Field. Well, water doesn't interfere with river water, so we won't get involved in this mess." Do the two pavilion masters really think that Nether Hall will always be content with their lot? Since Nether Hall has already revived, Heaven Mending Pavilion and Qilin Pavilion are very likely to be the next Ji family. The two of you should know Nether Hall's ambition. Spirit Void and Hung One Star Fields are adjacent, and Nether Hall is in between. The best choice is to join hands to gain the initiative, said Ji Yuechu. Sacred Master's words are incorrect. Nether Hall was once the strongest, but it is definitely not at its peak. It is impossible for them to provoke us at the same time. We are deeply regretful that the Ji family suffered this time. However, let's not talk about joining hands, said the Qilin Pavilion Master calmly. Sacred Master, please forgive us. My Heaven Mending Pavilion is also unable to help, said the Heaven Mending Pavilion Master. The Ji family is willing to give up 10% of the West Ridge Spirit Mine, said Ji Yuechu. Oh. The Qilin Pavilion Master and Heaven Mending Pavilion Master's eyes flashed. The West Ridge Spirit Mine was the Ji family's most important mine. 1 late-stage True Realm, 2 early-stage True Realm, no more, said the Qilin Pavilion Master. My Heaven Mending Pavilion is the same, said the Heaven Mending Pavilion Master. 2 late-stage True Realm and 2 early-stage True Realm, said Ji Yuechu. Impossible. The Qilin Pavilion Master directly refused, the Sacred Master's request is too high. 2 more early True Realm experts are fine, and at most 1 late True Realm expert. On the side, the Heaven Mending Pavilion Master nodded and said, Sacred Master should understand just how precious a late-stage True Realm expert is. Even we cannot invite just anyone. 1 is already our limit, and our Heaven Mending Pavilion can add 2 more early-stage True Realm experts. This is our bottom line. Sacred Master should consider it carefully. Ji Yuechu's eyes narrowed slightly, and said, Deal. Our pavilion will send people over soon. I hope that Holy Master can keep your promise. While talking, the Qilin Pavilion Master's figure gradually faded away. In a blink of an eye, he disappeared. After the Qilin Pavilion Master left, the Heaven Mending Pavilion Master looked at the person in front of him and said, Sacred Master, I have something to ask. Please tell me. Pavilion Master, please speak, Ji Yuechu replied. Not long ago, 3 women entered the Spirit Void Star region. One of them is a traitor of the Inuit sect. She took a Yellow Springs pill and should have lost all her cultivation. As for the other two, one is at the corporeal realm and the other is at the illusory realm. In addition, they also brought an unconscious youth with them. I wonder if the sacred master has heard of this. Ji Yuechu's eyes flashed with a strange light. He shook his head and said, I haven't heard of it. The heaven-mending pavilion master nodded, then I asked the sacred master to look for them. If you can find them, my heaven-mending pavilion will definitely thank you. Pavilion master is too polite. I will try my best. Ji Yuechu smiled. Many thanks. After saying this, the heaven-mending pavilion master's figure gradually faded away, vanishing from the Ji family's temple. Traitor of the Inuit sect, ho. A hint of a smile flashed across the corners of Ji Yuechu's mouth. So, there were still these things in between. Men. What orders does the sacred master have? A Ji family disciple walked into the hall and bowed. Ji Yuechu waved his hand and a letter flew from the table in the hall into the disciple's hand. Tomorrow morning, send this letter to Phoenix Cry Palace. Yes. The Ji family disciple respectfully bowed and left. Phoenix Cry City, within the royal palace. Prince Chi was in seclusion, healing his wounds with all his strength. In the western courtyard, Ning Chen was sitting in a pavilion playing chess with Murong. To the side, Yin was nervously helping. After one round, the black pieces were in complete chaos. Sir, you lost again. After a piece fell, Murong looked up at the person in front of her and smiled. Ning Chen, you're too stupid. You didn't even win a single one of the last 3 rounds. Yin muttered from the side. Didn't you help me move a lot of pieces? You still have the nerve to call me stupid. Ning Chen snappily said. If I didn't help you, you would have lost even faster. Yin retorted. What, did Sir lose again? Ruoshi walked in from outside the pavilion. As she saw the two of them bickering, she chuckled. He lost 3 rounds in a row. Yin complained. Ruoshi smiled, Sir isn't good at chess to begin with. Murong is also so fierce, so of course he lost. It's Sir who didn't play seriously with me. Murong chuckled. Playing chess was a test of one's eyesight and mind. These were Sir's strengths. It was just that he didn't want to play seriously. Of course, there was also Yin, this girl. It was hard not to lose. As soon as she finished speaking, Murong's face suddenly paled. Without any warning, she vomited a mouthful of blood, staining the chessboard. Ning Chen's eyes narrowed. He raised his hand and grabbed the former's arm. A vast amount of phoenix chi poured into her body, suppressing the Yellow Springs poison that erupted again. Half a quarter of an hour later, Murong tiredly opened her eyes and smiled weakly, I'm fine. I'll help you back to rest. Ning Chen stepped forward and helped her up. Then, he walked towards a room not far away. In the room, Ning Chen helped Murong lie down on the bed and covered her with a quilt. With a gentle smile on his face, he said, rest well for a while. Maybe you're too tired. Murong gently nodded. Then, she closed her eyes and prepared to rest. Ning Chen sat on the edge of the bed and watched as the woman's breathing gradually stabilized and she fell into a deep sleep. After another quarter of an hour, he got up and walked out of the room. How is Murong? Outside the room, Ruoshi was anxiously waiting. When she saw the former walk out, she asked anxiously. Ning Chen sighed softly, at most, she has 10 days left. Ruoshi's expression shook. Her eyes flashed with sadness. Not far away, Yin heard this. Her always cheerful little face also became sad. Young Master Ning, Miss Yunji asks for you. At this moment, outside the small courtyard, a maid came and respectfully said. Ning Chen recovered and nodded, I'll go over now. Is something the matter? Ruoshi asked worriedly. It should be about the Ji family. You take care of Murong. I'll be back soon. Ning Chen exhorted and immediately walked out of the courtyard. Phoenix Cry Palace. Concubine Yun looked at the invitation on the table with some worry in her eyes. Miss Yunji. Ning Chen entered the palace and politely asked, "What's the matter?" Concubine Yun handed over the invitation on the table and said, "The Ji family's holy lord is here." Ning Chen took the invitation. After reading it, his brows slightly wrinkled. Young Master Ning, before His Highness went into seclusion, he said that regarding the Ji family in the Qilin Pavilion, Concubine Yun can discuss this matter with young Master Ning. I wonder what young Master Ning thinks of this letter sent by the Ji family's holy master. It's very troublesome. Ning Chen said truthfully, I've already told the Ji family's holy lord that Prince Qi won't intervene in the battle between the Ji family and the Hall of the Dead. I didn't expect him to personally make a trip. The matter of His Highness' injury cannot be exposed. I ask young master to conceal it for me. Concubine Yun bowed and requested. I understand. Miss Yun Ji, please find a way to hide the matter of Prince Qi's absence. The Ji family's holy lord is not an ordinary person. It's not easy to deceive him. Ning Chen said. Concubine Yun nodded, rest assured young master, I will take care of this matter. Miss Yun Ji, please continue with your work. Murong's body is unwell so I must return. Ning Chen said and didn't stay any longer. He turned and left. Murong was sleeping in a room in the western courtyard. The Yellow Springs poison had erupted again and again, tormenting this pitiful woman. If it weren't for her yearning for this hard-won warmth, she might not have been able to endure it. Outside the room, the sky gradually darkened. Ning Chen stood in the courtyard, looking at the cold moon in the sky. A trace of confusion flashed through his eyes. This isn't your fault. Don't blame yourself. At some point, Qing Ning had appeared behind him. She saved me, but I couldn't save her. Ning Chen sighed deeply, feeling powerless. In this world, most things don't go your way. You've already done your best, but you can't save everyone. Even the immortal peach tree has been destroyed. This is the will of the heavens. Don't make things difficult for yourself, said Qing Ning softly. The will of the heavens? Ning Chen looked at the horizon, silent. He had struggled with the heavens his entire life, but in the end he had lost far too much. After accompanying Murong on this journey, you should go and find a way to restore your two bodies. Your three bodies are bound together for good or ill, especially your main body. If something happens to it, your life will be in danger. You can't let this matter drag on forever. Don't let Miss Murong's painstaking efforts go to waste, Qing Ning said seriously. Ning Chen nodded, silently agreeing. The cold night gradually passed. As the first rays of dawn sprinkled down on the earth, a blue-white clothed middle-aged man appeared in Phoenix Cry City. A powerful pressure spread out from him, making it so that no one dared to approach. The Ji family's holy lord personally arrived at Phoenix Cry City, shocking countless powerhouses within the city. Phoenix Cry Palace. Concubine Yun stood in the grand hall, quietly waiting. In front of the hall, a guard quickly walked in. He respectfully bowed and reported that the Ji family's holy lord had arrived. Concubine Yun's pupils shrank. She said, "Please enter." Not long after, a blue-white figure appeared outside Phoenix Cry Palace. After several steps, he arrived in the grand hall. "The Holy Lord has graced us with your presence. Please forgive me for not coming out to welcome you." Concubine Yun smiled as she saw the newcomer. Miss Yun is too polite. Ji Yuechu swept her eyes over the grand hall. She calmly said, "Why don't I see His Highness Prince Qi? His Highness has recently gained some enlightenment in his cultivation and is currently in seclusion. He is unable to personally receive the Holy Lord." "I apologize." Concubine Yun replied. "Oh." Ji Yuechu's eyes narrowed. That was far too unfortunate. Reporting to Miss Yun, Sir Ning requests an audience. At this time, a maid walked in from outside the hall and reported. Invite him in. Concubine Yun said. Yes. The maid nodded and left. Chapter 8:15. At Phoenix Cry Palace, the Ji family's holy master personally came, followed by Knowing Destiny. Concubine Yun looked at the two of them and ordered someone to serve them tea. Monarch Qi is in seclusion. It seems I came at a bad time, Ji Yuechu said. Her Highness has comprehended something during her cultivation, so she decided to go into seclusion, Concubine Yun explained. Little brother Ning did remind me, but I didn't think Monarch Qi would be in seclusion. What a pity. Ji Yuechu regretfully said. Across from him, Ning Chen picked up a cup of tea and took a sip, not saying anything. This excuse wasn't too clever, but it was enough. At the very least, with him sitting here, this Ji family's holy master wouldn't easily make things difficult for him. Did Monarch Qi say when she will leave seclusion? Ji Yuechu asked. At least a month, at most a year, Concubine Yun replied. Ji Yuechu frowned. He glanced at the young man across from him who hadn't spoken yet. He couldn't help but dispel this thought. Although he didn't want to admit it, this young man from the same generation as his daughter already had the strength to contend with old fellows like them. He wasn't willing to make such a person his enemy. Little brother Ning, please reconsider the matter I mentioned to you before. My Ji family will definitely remember this favor, Ji Yuechu said once more. Holy Master, I understand your feelings as a father wanting to save your daughter. But, if the Ji family doesn't use their hidden strength, then even if I agree to help, it will be difficult to take back Miss Ji's god bloodline, Ning Chen replied. What if my Ji family's current strength is combined with the help of Qilin Pavilion and Heaven Mending Pavilion? Ji Yuechu seriously asked. Oh. A strange light flashed in Ning Chen's eyes. Holy Master, please tell me. Qilin Pavilion and Heaven Mending Pavilion have both agreed to send 1 late True Realm and 4 early True Realm Masters to help. If little brother Ning also agrees to help, then I have a 90% chance of taking back Yuqing's bloodline strength, Ji Yuechu earnestly said. Ning Chen fell silent. He looked at the tea leaves floating in his cup and didn't reply. Little brother Ning, that Miss Murong should come from Red Luan Star Region's Yin Gue sect, right? Ji Yuechu asked. Ning Chen's hand paused for a moment before he calmed down and said, it seems that the sacred master already knows. Ji Yuechu nodded and said, when Heaven Mending Pavilion Master mentioned the girls by your side, I already guessed that it was you and deliberately concealed this matter. Little brother Ning, I am not saying this to threaten you. I just want to say that Ji family is willing to become friends with you. I hope little brother Ning can also help my daughter this time. Ning Chen sighed softly and asked, when? 5 days, Ji Yuechu said. Ning Chen shook his head and said, wait for another 5 days. 10 days later, I will do my best to help Sacred Master take back Miss Ji's bloodline power. 10 days. Hearing this, Ji Yuechu frowned slightly. After weighing the pros and cons for a moment, he nodded and said, all right, this seat will wait until 10 days later. Little brother Ning, 10 days later, this seat will be waiting for your arrival at the Ji family. Definitely. Ning Chen nodded. Then I'll take my leave first. Miss Yun, please send my regards to His Highness Prince Qi. Sorry for the disturbance. Ji Yuechu stood up, his gaze shifted to the woman not far away, and said politely. Concubine Yun will pass on Sacred Master's words. Take care, Sacred Master. Concubine Yun stood up and walked forward to see him off. Ji Yuechu nodded and didn't stay any longer. He turned and walked out of the hall. Concubine Yun saw him out of the hall and watched him leave. After a moment, she looked back at the young figure in the hall and said, young Master Ning, are you really going to help Ji family attack Nether Hall? Yes. Ning Chen nodded and said, when I first came to Hongwan Star region, I already had a grudge with Nether Hall. Even if I don't go looking for them, they will come looking for me sooner or later. Then young Master Ning must be careful. I once heard His Highness mention that Nether Hall's strength was once at the peak of many inheritances in ancient times. Aside from the underworld, no one can compare to them. Although they have declined now, no one knows how much strength this colossus still has, Concubine Yun reminded him seriously. I will be careful. Thank you for your reminder, Concubine Yun, replied Ning Chen. Concubine Yun walked to the throne and took out a simple and beautiful sword. She softly said, this is His Highness Phoenix Cry sword. His Highness said that if you encounter a powerful enemy, I should lend this sword to you. Young Master possesses a phoenix origin, and with this Phoenix Cry sword, your strength will rise to another level. Ning Chen looked at the sword in her hand. A moment later, he reached out and took it. Thank you. The sword was 3 inches long, and red clouds filled the sky. Ning Chen's eyes flashed with a strange light and his phoenix origin surged. Concubine Yun was astonished. What a powerful aura! Returning the sword to its sheath, Ning Chen's aura gradually withdrew. He nodded and left the hall. Watching his figure gradually disappear into the distance, Concubine Yun sighed inwardly. Ever since they had first met, she hadn't been able to see through him. Whether it was his strength or his thoughts, he seemed to be hidden in a fog. Perhaps only those women by his side could understand him. In the western courtyard, Ning Chen took out the Phoenix Cry sword and handed it to Qing Ning. This is the Phoenix Cry sword that His Highness Prince Qi asked Concubine Yun to lend me. You agree to Ji family's Holy Lord's request? Qing Ning took the sword and asked. N. Ning Chen nodded. After all, Miss Ji has taken care of Ruoxi and Wulei. In addition to the enmity between me and Nether Hall, I will settle it once and for all. Qing Ning was silent for a moment. Then she nodded. If you agree, then so be it. 10 days later, Ruoxi and I will take Wulei back to the central province. That girl's injuries require a long period of recuperation. It's not suitable for her to stay in Qi Palace. Take Yin with you. She hasn't been back for a long time. Senior Sword Master and Yin mother must miss her very much. Ning Chen whispered. All right, but that girl has a wild temper and can't stay idle. I estimate that she will come looking for you within a few days after returning home. Qing Ning helplessly said. If she wants to come back, then let her come by herself. She has the sword techniques I left on her and the Western King hairpin. As long as she doesn't encounter too strong an enemy, her life shouldn't be in danger. Ning Chen replied. Qing Ning gently nodded. A trace of gentleness appeared on her face. When you first took her in, she was just a little girl who lazed around in bed. I didn't expect her cultivation to be higher than yours now. Time really flies. Er's talent is good and her mind is pure. It's not surprising that her cultivation is fast. If Senior Heaven Speaker's gift awakens in the future, I might not be able to beat her. Ning Chen sighed. Qing Ning smiled. At that time, no one will be able to control her. As her master, you must work hard. Don't let her surpass you. If she surpasses me, then so be it. Ning Chen smiled lightly and said, as a teacher, don't I hope that my disciple can surpass my master? If can really surpass me one day and her name shakes the world, I, as her master, will also feel proud. Young Lord, Murong is awake. Not far away, the door opened and Ruoxi walked in. Go spend more time with her. Qing Ning said softly. Ning Chen nodded and walked towards the room in front. Sister Qing Ning. Ruoxi called out. Her eyes unconsciously filled with tears. Her sadness was difficult to suppress. Qing Ning sighed. Ruoxi, this is something that no one can change. Murong understands, Ning Chen also understands. Murong chose freedom back then. At least, she didn't regret it. Ruoshi clenched her delicate hands. Her tears were filled with hatred. Yin Guizong and Butian Pavilion, in order to maintain the so-called alliance, did not hesitate to sacrifice an innocent woman. It was really hateful. In a room not far away, Ning Qin sat on the edge of the bed and looked at the woman who had just woken up. With a gentle expression, he asked, "How do you feel?" "A lot better." Murong smiled weakly and replied, "Sleep a little more. More rest is good for your body." Ning Qin whispered, "I don't want to sleep anymore. I've been in the room for too long. It's a bit stuffy. Can you help me up? I want to go out for a walk." Murong looked at the scenery outside the window. Ning Qin gently nodded. He stepped forward and carefully helped her up. His movements were so gentle that it was as if he were worried he would break a porcelain doll in his arms. Murong stood up and walked out of the room with the help of the people around her. Phoenix Cry Palace in autumn was exceptionally beautiful. Maple leaves fluttered in the air, a fiery red color that was intoxicating. Murong looked at the maple leaves in the courtyard, a brilliant smile on her face. In this life, she had missed out on far too many opportunities. She never imagined that in these last days, she would once again obtain a happiness that she had never dared to hope for. 10 suns gradually passed under the falling red maple leaves. During these 10 days, Ning Qin never left Murong's side. He accompanied her day and night, watching over her day and night. The yellow springs swallowed her body and the poison spread throughout her body. Murong's beautiful eyes gradually lost their brilliance. She couldn't see the maple leaves nor could she see the setting sun. However, with the company of the people around her, Murong always had a smile on her face. "Sir, you must remember me." As her voice fell, Murong leaned against the shoulder of the person beside her and fell asleep forever. Her face carried a trace of satisfaction, a trace of reluctance, and a trace of no regrets. Ning Qin quietly sat there, no longer a trace of emotion in his eyes. Perhaps the pain was too deep and he no longer knew what pain was. Behind him, Ruoshi trembled as she turned around. Her tears dripped down, soaking her clothes. To the side, Qing Ning's expression darkened. Was this the will of the heavens? If they couldn't resist the heavens, if they couldn't defy their fate, then what was the point of cultivating? A cold wind blew past, causing the red maple leaves to flutter in the air. Ning Qin stood up, picked up the woman beside him, and walked forward. He softly said, "Sister Qing Ning, help me bury Murong. The time I agreed upon with the Ji family is approaching. I must leave." Qing Ning nodded. She took out the Phoenix Cry sword and handed it to the person in front of her. She said, "Be careful." Ning Qin lightly nodded. He took the Phoenix Cry sword and without another word, walked out of the courtyard. Looking at the departing back of the young master, Ruoshi's eyes flashed with sadness. Why was it that this time she couldn't feel any fluctuations in the young master's emotions? Did the young master really not feel any pain? Outside the Phoenix Cry city, the red figure walking forward had a terrifyingly calm expression. Every step was steady, without the slightest ripple. After a few breaths, the red figure walked far away. Behind him, where knowing destiny walked, the ground suddenly rumbled and shook. Cracks crisscrossed, reaching thousands of feet away. Chapter 8:16. In front of the Ji family's sacred palace, many venerables were gathered, waiting for someone to come. Soon, Hong Yi appeared with Phoenix Cry in her hand. She walked in front of everyone. "Let's go." Ning Qin looked at the Ji family's sacred master and said, "Okay." Ji Wechu nodded. He looked at the venerables behind him and ordered, "Let's go." With that order, war chariots rose into the sky one after another. Their terrifying auras covered the sky, shocking everyone. On the leading war chariot, the Ji family's sacred master stood quietly. He was personally going to the forbidden land of absolute, beginning to suppress the Hall of the Dead. On both sides of the Ji family's sacred master, there were 2 war chariots of almost the same size. Several venerables from the Qilin Pavilion and the Heaven-Mending Pavilion stood on them. Their auras were shocking, far surpassing the experts who walked in the mortal world. Not far away, Hong Yi stood alone on a strange bronze war chariot. Her expression was as calm as a lake, without any changes. In the clear sky, the war chariots quickly left, disappearing from the sky above White Emperor City. At the end of the Spirit Void starfield, at the border with the Red Phoenix starfield, fog lingered. The forbidden land of absolute beginning, the famous forbidden land of the mortal world, was deathly silent. In the depths of the forbidden land, a gloomy and majestic palace stood quietly. A terrifying and heavy pressure was constantly emitted from the depths of the palace, causing people to feel fear. At this moment, thunder rumbled in the sky. War chariots drove over. The 3 armies had joined forces to attack the Hall of the Dead. "I've been waiting for you for a long time." As he spoke, black fog lingered in front of the Hall of the Dead. Many figures walked out. The leader was wearing black armor. His aura was gloomy and majestic, not any weaker than the Ji family's sacred master. Mo Luotian. Looking at the leader, Ji Yuechu's expression sank as he said coldly, "Since everyone came here to die, I'll fulfill your wish." Mo Luotian looked at the people on the war chariot and said indifferently, "It's not certain who will live and who will die. Mo Luotian, hand over Yuqing's god bloodline. Otherwise, we'll flatten your Hall of the Dead again," said Ji Yuechu. Ji clan's sacred master Ji Yuechu, Qilin Pavilion's supreme head Lin Xiaohan, Heaven-Mending Pavilion's martial head Qi Wenzhu, "I am not mistaken, am I?" As he spoke, 2 more people walked out of the black fog and stood at the 2 ends. One of them was clad in green armor and had a heavy and domineering aura. The other was clad in bright silver divine robes. His face was grave and stern, and his temperament was noble and extraordinary. He was unforgettable. "There's more." Di Mingtian shifted his gaze and looked at the red-robed figure on the right. "Ninth son of Mo Gate, we meet again." A strange look flashed across Lin Xiaohan's and Qi Wenzhu's eyes when they heard this. Soon after, they suppressed the waves in their hearts. Their current enemy was the Nether Hall. Everything else could be dealt with later. "It is a pity that I was unable to kill you in the ancient battlefield." Ning Chen looked at the young man in silver before him and said indifferently, "You failed to grasp the best opportunity. Now, it's time for me to send you on your way," said Di Mingtian calmly. "So your highness has an old grudge with this person. Why don't you go somewhere else to settle it?" "Leave this place to us," Mo Luotian suggested. "That's fine." Di Mingtian nodded. He looked at the young man in red and asked, "What do you think?" "As you wish." Ning Chen's figure descended and waved his hand to put away the bronze chariot. He then walked away. Di Mingtian followed behind and disappeared from everyone's sight. "Sacred Master, is it all right to let young Master Ning face Di Mingtian alone?" asked a grand elder from the Ji family worriedly from the chariot. A few days ago, when the Nether Hall had attacked the Ji family, Di Mingtian's strength was obvious to all. He was not inferior to the Hall Master of the Nether Hall. He was an extremely terrifying figure. "It should be fine." Ji Yuechu looked at the 2 figures disappearing and said gravely. This 9th son of Mo Gate was also unfathomable. No one could see his true bottom line. "Are you all done?" Outside the Nether Hall, Mo Luotian waved his hand. Black fog surged behind him, and thousands of black figures appeared. Iron chains crisscrossed, sealing the sky and earth. "Kill them all." With a command, the black figures rushed out and surrounded the Ji family and the 2 pavilions' allied forces. A great battle was about to erupt. Ji Yuechu's expression turned cold. He waved his right hand and said, "Kill." As soon as he said that, the chariot rumbled and streaked across the sky. The battle had begun. In an instant, killing lights flashed. Heaven and earth shook. The sounds of battle were deafening, and the wind howled. In the distance, Hong Yi and Shen Yi, one was as calm as water, while the other was as cold as ice. It was as if they were fated to fight again. The two of them were not too anxious because they knew that the person in front of them was more dangerous than any other opponent. Ninth son of Mo Gate, what exactly do you want? Power or longevity? Di Mingtian looked at the person before him and asked seriously. Ning Chen shook his head lightly and said, I don't need either. You and I don't need to be enemies. As long as you agree to come to my side, I am willing to let go of the past grudges. I can even let you become an existence that is second only to one person in the Nether Hall. At that time, no one can stop you from doing whatever you want, said Di Mingtian. Ning Chen shook his head again. He held the Phoenix Cry sword horizontally and said, Thank you for your appreciation. People of different paths cannot make plans together. Let's begin. Stubborn. Di Mingtian's expression turned cold. He waved his right hand and a silver light flashed. A strange-looking silver halberd appeared. The moment the divine weapon appeared, the wind and snow started to blow, and the frozen ground turned into frost. Looking at the divine weapon in Di Mingtian's hand, Ning Chen's expression turned serious. He held the hilt and slowly pulled out the Phoenix Cry sword. When the divine sword was unsheathed, the Phoenix Cry of the 9 heavens lit up the sky. A phoenix appeared and danced around knowing destiny. Phoenix Cry sword. Prince Qi, Lin Yuzhen's sword. Seeing this, Di Mingtian's eyes flashed. It was strange that Prince Qi of Phoenix Cry City would lend his sword to someone else. There was no time to think. In an instant, Hong Yi appeared in front of Di Mingtian. The Phoenix Cry slashed down. Di Mingtian's expression darkened. He waved his silver halberd and blocked the sword light. The divine weapons clashed. It was a shocking scene. Frost rose and fell. The ground under them kept collapsing. Waves of dust surged. After not seeing you for so many years, your improvement has disappointed me. Di Mingtian snorted coldly. He turned his palm and condensed Yuan Qi. A powerful and domineering palm swept out. Your strength also doesn't pique my interest. Ning Chen stepped forward and dodged the palm. Phoenix fire surged on his sword and slashed down. The silver halberd and divine sword clashed again. Flames and frost mixed. Their moves were ruthless. Their words were even more merciless. They disrupted each other's state of mind. The intense battle shocked everyone. At their level, every move had the power to burn the sky and boil the sea. This was a battle at the peak. Forbidden Dark Seal, Light of Heaven. After exchanging a few moves, Di Mingtian's heavenly fate turned into true Yuan. Boundless pressure swept out. Above the 9 heavens, dazzling light and shocking killing intent descended. The heavenly light punished the world. Ning Chen stepped forward. Phoenix fire rose on his sword. He turned into a fire phoenix and soared into the sky, facing the heavenly light head-on. The two powers collided. The aftershocks pressed down, splitting the sky and the earth. Halberd light, sword cries, and the sun and moon shook. The space between the two kept collapsing. Ice melted, snow melted, and waves of fire dissipated. Sword technique, extreme heaven. Ning Chen held his sword horizontally. Instantly, the sword's might soared. The extreme martial technique reflected the stars. The phoenix cried out. Dazzling red light fell like a heavenly river, stunning the world. Di Mingtian's eyes narrowed. He flipped his palm and gathered origin energy. The scene of the sun and moon being destroyed appeared again. The stars collapsed and met the falling heavenly river. Extreme Daos and laws collided. Shocking power surged. The aftershocks swept out for thousands of miles. Heaven and earth fell. The two unfathomable people were still holding back. The world around them was already broken. The laws collapsed and affected the power of space, forming terrifying gullies. You were invited by the Ji clan. Are you not going to use your full strength? Di Mingtian looked at the person in front of him and asked calmly. Ning Chen looked at the battle in the distance, which was also difficult to determine. His aura rose again. That's what I was thinking. As soon as he said that, Ning Chen's body glowed with red light. The four symbols' origins were activated. The phoenix returned to its ancestor and entered the divine realm. Ning Chen's long hair that had turned from black to red fluttered in the wind. His figure moved again at an extremely fast speed. This time, even his afterimage could not be seen. Feeling the former's strength rising again, Di Mingtian also did not hold back. He shouted softly. The sand under his feet rose without wind. Waves of abnormally powerful pressure spread rapidly. Heaven and earth sensed it and shook violently. The sword and halberd collided. Di Mingtian retreated several steps and used the momentum to leap into the void. Emperor Underworld Order. The extreme move was used. Meteors fell from the sky. Streaks of fiery light streaked across the sky and fell into the world. The shocking move commanded the stars in the sky. The most terrifying might of heaven and earth descended with destruction. Heaven's might descended. Ning Chen stepped forward. His sword danced in spring and autumn. The extreme might appeared again. Nirvana. The sword cried out. Red light rose. 10,000 sword lights rose against the sky. They were incomparably magnificent and dazzling. Shocking killer move, Nirvana shook heaven's might. The sword lights and meteors collided. The aurora was dazzling. Great rumbling sounds rang out. The most terrifying collision caused the heavens to collapse for 10,000 li. It was as if doomsday was arriving, shaking heaven and earth. In front of the Hall of the Dead, everyone who was in the midst of a fierce battle looked into the distance. They were shocked. What exactly happened there? Forbidden Dark Seal, 6 Sins Tao Destruction. In the aftermath, a silvery figure appeared. His eyes shone brightly. The sun and moon appeared. His divine origin was vast like waves. The void within 1,000 miles sank. Everything was turned into ashes. Sword technique, nothingness. The raging waves were not over yet. Ning Chen's phoenix cry sword moved again. The sword was nothingness. With a loud bang, the two extremes devoured rapidly. Endless destruction. The sun and moon lost their colors. A shocking battle. The knowing destiny who had awakened from nirvana had an unprecedented battle strength. His sword technique was endless. The rumbling shook the world. Waves of dust spread out. In front of the Hall of the Dead, everyone was affected by the aftermath of the battle. They took several steps back. The battle came to a standstill. At the center of the battle, Mo Luotian, who was fighting with Ji Wechu, pushed back the people in front of him. He looked into the distance and his eyes focused. In just 100 years, the 9th son of Mahist sect had grown to such a terrifying extent. Today, no matter what, he could not be allowed to leave here. 10th ancestor, please take action. After making up his mind, Mo Luotian turned around and said respectfully. As soon as he finished speaking, there was silence. A moment later, a shocking terror appeared. Above the Hall of the Dead, the space cracked. A force that had never been seen in the mortal world erupted. The world trembled. Chapter 8:17. In the absolute beginning Forbidden Land, the battle had reached its climax. In order to save Ju Mo clan's 9th disciple, Mo Luotian used his trump card to summon the 10 ancestors of Nether Hall. After a short moment of silence, the space above Nether Hall suddenly cracked open. An indescribable power erupted, shaking the world. In an instant, everyone's expression changed as they looked above Nether Hall. This is the fourth realm? Lin Xiaohan, the head of Qilin Pavilion Supreme, was shocked. Doesn't look like it. Ji Yuechu's expression sank as he said, but it's not much different. Nether Hall actually has such a strong expert. What should we do? Retreat? Qi Wenzhu, the martial arts chief of Butian Pavilion, looked at the increasingly terrifying aura in the sky and asked. I'm afraid it's too late. Ji Yuechu's expression turned serious as he said, if we retreat now, we'll die even faster. I'll block him. You guys finish this quickly. After speaking, Ji Yuechu took a step forward and flew towards Nether Hall. You can't leave. Mo Luotian's figure flashed as he wanted to block Ji Clan's sacred master's path. Qi Wenju's gaze turned serious as the folding fan in his hand flew out and blocked the person in front of him. Qi Wenju, don't think that just because you have the title of martial arts chief, you're really a martial arts chief. In front of me, your title isn't worth mentioning. Mo Luotian looked at the person in front of him and mocked. Hall Master's fame is known by the world. However, I also heard that 100 years ago, Hall Master was defeated by a swordsman. It can be seen that Hall Master isn't really invincible. Qi Wenju said indifferently. You're courting death. Being poked at his sore spot, Mo Luotian's expression turned cold. He raised his hand and black fog rolled, turning into a black dragon that swallowed the former. Qi Wenju's footsteps turned as his figure changed strangely. He moved swiftly and his whereabouts were hard to predict. Not far away, the head of Qilin Pavilion Supreme, Lin Xiaohan, was also facing a strong enemy. The green-armored expert's moves were domineering and powerful. Outside the center of the battle, the Ji clan and two pavilions' true realm experts were fighting against the Nether Hall's guardians. The battle was so intense that it was hard to look at it. Blood and black fog constantly scattered. It was extremely tragic. The most eye-catching thing was that in the sky above the Hall of the Dead, in the huge rift in space, the heavy foreign pressure continued to rise. The 10 ancestors of the Hall of the Dead revived and walked out of the secret realm step by step. The skinny old man was dressed in ancient clothing. He seemed to be from an ancient era, at least several thousand years old. However, the powerful aura around the old man surpassed everyone present. An ancient existence that surpassed the peak of the true realm and was infinitely close to the fourth realm appeared today, shocking everyone. Why did you wake me up? The 10 ancestors of the Nether Hall swept their gazes across the battlefield. Immediately, they looked at the current master of the Nether Hall at the center of the battle and said indifferently. The existence of one of them might threaten the Hall of the Underworld in the future. 10th ancestor, please get rid of him. Mo Luotian said as he pushed the battle back with a palm. Who is it? The Nether Hall's 10 ancestors asked coldly. He's the pinnacle of the Sword Dao, Mo Gate's 9th son. Mo Luotian looked over. Prepare the food for the two true realm experts, said the Underworld Hall's 10 ancestors indifferently. Yes. Mo Luotian replied respectfully. After that, the Underworld Hall's 10 ancestors looked back at the middle-aged man in front of them and said indifferently, get out of the way, or die. Ji Yuechu's expression turned serious and said, sorry, if you want to go over, you'll have to defeat me first. Peak of the true realm, not bad. It's a pity to kill you. I'll use you to refine the corpse god. After saying that, the Underworld Hall's 10 ancestors flashed over. An extremely powerful power of law surrounded them as they slammed down with their palms, causing the world to sink. Ji Yuechu's eyes narrowed as a strange light shone around him. He activated the martial arts realm that he had never used before. Instantly, the sky was filled with stars, and light shone down on the world. God's Scroll, Celestial Dance of the Heavens. The God's Scroll was unleashed, and the world shook. Ji Yuechu's aura rose rapidly as he blocked the palm that came down from the sky. The extreme collision caused the space above the Hall of the Dead to collapse. Endless nothingness continued to spread, swallowing everything around. In the aftermath, Ji Yuechu took half a step back. The true chi in his body surged, but he blocked the old monster's attack. God Scroll. You're from the Spirit Void Ji family. The Underworld Hall's 10 ancestors looked at the gradually recovering space and said coldly. Ji family's current master, Ji Yuechu, greets the Underworld Hall's 10 ancestors. Ji Yuechu said calmly. Ji family's sacred master, He. The Underworld Hall's 10 ancestors sneered and said, as a sacred master, you actually personally came to attack my Underworld Hall. It seems that my juniors have done something that angers the heavens. It's indeed in line with my Underworld Hall's principles. So, I've come today to seek justice, Ji Yuechu said indifferently. Justice? The Underworld Hall's 10 ancestors' expression turned even colder. Talking about justice with my Underworld Hall is truly laughable. Ji family's sacred master, my target today isn't you. Move aside, or don't blame me for being merciless. I can't move aside. Ji Yuechu shook his head and said, the person you want to kill is my daughter's friend, and this person was invited by me. I can't let anything happen to him here. I don't want my daughter to hate me forever. Then you can go to hell first. Murderous intent flashed in the Underworld Hall's 10 ancestors' eyes. With a stomp of his foot, the space within 100 miles collapsed. Ji Yuechu activated the Divine Transformation Scroll, and the god bloodline in his body burned rapidly. The space around him distorted, and an unparalleled god aura soared into the sky. The two palms met, and a shocking collision sound rang out. A huge black hole appeared between the two, and the laws and space were all shattered into nothingness. It was a shocking scene. Ji Yuechu retreated 2 more steps, and a drop of blood dripped from the corner of his mouth. He was injured for the first time. An existence that had peaked into the 4th level and had integrated the laws into his body was not something that ordinary power could contend against. The Ji family's sacred master, who had the god bloodline and cultivated the Divine Transformation Scroll, was actually at a disadvantage. I'll say it again. Move aside, said the Underworld Hall's 10 ancestors. I can't move aside. Ji Yuechu was still indifferent, and he was not willing to move an inch. You don't know the meaning of death. The Underworld Hall's 10 ancestors' expression turned colder and colder. Their bodies moved, and the wind whistled. Their true chi condensed into a terrifying pressure that seemed to have materialized. With the killing move in front of him, Ji Yuechu's god blood burned crazily, and he activated his true yuan. The Divine Transformation Scroll opened again, blocking the incoming killing move. At this moment, the world suddenly stagnated, and countless sword lights crisscrossed, piercing through the void and blocking in front of Ji Yuechu in an instant. The next moment, a rumbling sound rang out, and tens of thousands of sword lights blocked the killing move of the Underworld Hall's 10 ancestors. The remaining power roared, shocking everyone present. Senior Sacred Master, you've already blocked 2 moves for me. It's enough. Let me handle the rest myself. Ning Chen walked over and looked at the old man in front of him calmly. You're Mo Gate's 9th disciple. Not bad. I finally understand why Mo Luotian can't wait to kill you, said the Underworld Hall's 10 ancestors coldly. Senior, you're too kind. Ning Chen replied politely, and his eyes swept across Di Mingtian who was chasing from behind. He said, Sacred Master, I'll leave that person to you. If I'm not wrong, Miss Ji's bloodline power is most likely hidden in his body. Hearing this, Ji Yuechu was startled at first, then a worried expression appeared on his face. He said, Can you stop him? Ning Chen did not waste any more words and replied indifferently, I can. Alright, hold on for a while. Once I'm done with that person, I'll come back to help you. Ji Yuechu replied, and his figure flashed, blocking Di Mingtian from getting closer. To have such strength and guts at such a young age, you're really extraordinary. Unfortunately, I like to kill geniuses the most. The underworld hall's 10 ancestors sneered and stepped out. The yin qi around him continuously merged into his body, and the laws intertwined, forming black chains. I'm not a genius, I'm just a person who can't die yet. Heaven can't kill me, and neither can you. Ning Chen waved his hand, and the immortal execution sword appeared. The ferocious aura on the sword roared, and it was extremely shocking. Immortal execution sword. The underworld hall's 10 ancestors' expression froze, but he was not too surprised. A broken immortal sword was not much of a threat to him. Sword art, returning to truth. With a casual voice and an ordinary sword, Ning Chen's immortal slaying slashed across the air, and a sword light broke through the air, instantly reaching the 10 ancestors' chest. Useless move. The underworld hall's 10 ancestors turned their palms to block the sword. With a loud bang, the sword light dissipated and disappeared. Sword art, ultimate heaven. After the first sword, another sword came out, and the power was also ordinary. The sword chi was filled with killing intent, and it reached the 10 ancestors' chest again. The underworld hall's 10 ancestors frowned slightly, and raised his hand to shatter the sword chi. Looking at the person in front of him, he did not delay any longer, and his figure flashed, and he turned his palm to the former. Ning Chen's expression was uncomfortable, and he turned his feet. His figure flickered, and he dodged the former's powerful palm. Sword art, Dragon Sparrow transformation. With a slash of the sword, the azure dragon and vermilion bird roared out, and swept towards the former's back. The underworld hall's 10 ancestors' eyes darkened, and he turned back to focus his energy, shattering the two-sword chi with a palm. This person is troublesome. Before he finished his thought, Hong Yi arrived, and the Phoenix Cry sword glowed with red light. With a slash of the sword, she disappeared again. The underworld hall's 10 ancestors turned his palm to shatter the sword chi again, and his expression was unusually cold. Heaven and earth extreme speed, no wonder Mo Luo Tian wanted to kill this person so badly, but he was still alive. Grasping extreme Dao and extreme speed, this person was not weaker than the Ji clan's sacred master, and might even be more troublesome. Are you thinking of escaping like this? The underworld hall's 10 ancestors looked at the young man in front of them, and spoke with sarcasm. Senior's cultivation is unparalleled, this junior naturally does not dare to fight head-on. Ning Chen responded with another slash of his sword. The underworld hall's 10 ancestors' true chi burst out, shattering the sword chi, and sneered, "How long do you think you can escape for? 10 moves, or 100 moves? I don't need that many moves." Ning Chen waved his immortal execution again, and the sharp sword chi broke through the air, and its power multiplied. The underworld hall's 10 ancestors' face darkened, and they moved their palms to block the sword chi. "You! Did Mo Luo Tian tell you that the time seal is in my hands? Senior, what do you think you lack the most now?" Ning Chen stopped and asked indifferently. "Not good." When the underworld hall's 10 ancestors heard this, their faces suddenly changed, but it was already too late. In the surrounding heaven and earth, the yellow spring opened its time seal, and time flowed. Within 1,000 feet range, time flowed rapidly, swallowing the former's already dried up lifespan. Strong cultivation does not mean everything. Senior, your weakness is too obvious. Have a good trip to the yellow spring. As soon as he finished speaking, Ning Chen took a step and leaped into the air. The Phoenix Cry sword in his hand turned, and a fatal sword broke through the air. Chapter 8:18. In the sky above the Hall of the Dead, sword light shone brightly as the yellow springs trapped the enemy. In the instant that the passage of time took their lives, tens of thousands of swords gushed out like a tidal wave, turning into a rain of swords that slashed towards the old man in front. He did not hold back in the slightest. The sword flow drowned the void and swallowed the bodies of the 10 ancestors of the Hall of the Underworld. "I can't accept it. I can't accept it." Amidst the sword flow, the bodies of the 10 ancestors of the Hall of the Dead gradually collapsed. The vitality that was taken away by the time seal dissipated between heaven and earth, and there was no longer any power to reverse the situation. The moment his physical body collapsed, the divine souls of the 10 ancestors of the Hall of the Dead broke out of his body, peeking into the 4th level of cultivation and protecting his life. Sword Art, Dragon Phoenix Burial. Ning Chen's expression didn't change at all. The phoenix cry sword in his hand turned around, and the dragon and phoenix intertwined, attacking the former's soul. His consciousness had yet to fully recover after leaving his body, and the 10 ancestors of the Underworld Hall were about to fall. Outside the battlefield, Missouri Luo Tian flipped his palm and blasted away Wu Kuei from the heaven-mending pavilion in front of him. His figure flashed and blocked the sword move. He condensed his origin energy into his palm and forcefully blocked the killing move. With a stuffy cough, the corners of his lips turned red. Mo Luo Tian, who had hurriedly blocked the attack, didn't have enough essence and was immediately wounded. However, in this short moment, the divine soul consciousness of the 10 ancestors of the Nether Hall gradually recovered. Their eyes opened, and a majestic pressure swept out. "Since you destroyed my body, you shall pay with your life." The 10 ancestors of the Nether Hall stepped forward. Their auras were unique and powerful, making it hard for others to understand. Ning Chen looked at the old man in front of him and said indifferently, "How long can you last with only your soul left? If I can kill you once, I can kill you a second time." Not far away, heaven-mending pavilions Wu Kuei hurried to the battlefield. He once again took action to stop Mo Luo Tian, separating the battle between the two sides. The 10 ancestors of the Hall of the Underworld stepped forward, and the moment their figures moved again, red light shone in the surroundings. The sword light was dazzling, and the sword momentum was endless. The celestial trapping was used again, sealing the space. "In a fair duel, I'm not your match. But in a battle of life and death, you'll definitely lose." As soon as he finished speaking, the red robe flashed past. The light of restrictions filled the sky again. Time passed without a trace, and 100 years passed in a breath. "Ah!" Painful groans were heard. Under the influence of time, cracks appeared on the divine souls of the 10 ancestors of the Hall of the Dead. They could resist the world, but they could not resist the erosion of time. 100 breaths of time, yellow springs borrowing life. At the moment when their souls were about to be destroyed, the 10 ancestors of the Hall of the Dead shone brightly, and their shattered souls recovered once again. They borrowed life from the netherworld, which was shocking. Ning Chen stood in the air and looked at the divine restriction that was gradually weakening. His eyes narrowed slightly. It was already at its limit. An old monster close to the 4th realm was indeed not so easy to kill. Before he could finish his thoughts, the figures of the 10 ancestors of the Hall of the Dead flashed past and broke through the restraints of the divine prohibition. In an instant, they arrived before him and threw a punch full of hatred. A part of the world collapsed. In the collapsing heaven and earth, red clothes rushed out. Her sword hummed as she relied on her speed to barely avoid the danger. Descent of the 6th Tao, myriad demonic tribulations, supreme forbidden sword. The sound of a phoenix pierced through the air, and red light filled the sky. Streaks of sword light appeared out of nowhere. The moment the sword light reached its peak, Ning Chen's feet trembled, and his body soared into the sky. Countless sword light rays surrounded his body, and then they pierced through the sky. Apocalyptic calamity. The calamity began, and the heavens and earth grieved. Wherever the sword flow passed, all things collapsed. Terrifying spatial ravines appeared one after another, swallowing everything in the surroundings. The faces of the 10 ancestors of the Hall of the Dead sank. They activated the power of the heavens and earth with their palms. The maelstrom of laws swirled and blocked the sword light descending from the sky. In an instant, a rumbling sound echoed throughout the forbidden land of absolute beginning. The sword flow continued to disperse, turning into stars and disappearing into the world. Sword style, formless sword. At the same time, red clothes appeared. Her body and sword were extremely fast. The scattered sword aura gathered and condensed into one, breaking through the former's divine soul. Ah! There was a groan as the sword entered the divine soul. The 10 ancestors of the Hall of the Dead took a few steps back. Having lost their physical bodies, their strength had also weakened to the lowest point. It was difficult for them to withstand the sword. As I said, your weakness is too obvious. It was the same just now, and it's the same now. Ning Qin said coldly. The baleful aura on the celestial slaying sword erupted, swallowing the former's body and sealing it into the sword. 10 ancestors. In the battle not far away, seeing the old man's divine soul disappear, Mo Luo Tian was shocked and cried out. Being distracted in battle, Hall Master, isn't that impolite? Qi Wenju's palm wind was in front of him, and she said lightly. Mo Luo Tian came back to his senses and turned his palm to block the attack. With a bang, the battle separated. The 10 ancestors would be defeated. This was something he had never expected. That 9th son of the Mahist sect already had such terrifying strength. In the sky above the Hall of the Dead, after getting rid of the 10 ancestors, Ning Qin didn't stay for long. He took a step forward and disappeared instantly. In the battle far away, Ji Yuechu and Di Mingtian were fighting fiercely. It was difficult to end the battle in a short time. At this moment, red clothes appeared out of thin air and slashed at Di Mingtian without hesitation. Ha! When the sword light arrived, Di Mingtian's expression turned serious. He slashed back with his silver halberd, blocking the sword light. Divine Scroll, Celestial Dance. As the sword and halberd clashed, a flaw appeared. Seeing this, Ji Yuechu's body shone with purple light, and he slapped at Di Mingtian's chest. Ah! A pool of blood splashed and dyed Di Mingtian's divine robe red. With the two experts working together, Di Mingtian was finally defeated and injured for the first time. Sacred Lord. This moment couldn't be missed. Ning Qin reminded Ji Yuechu, and his sword condensed into 8 desolations. Ji Yuechu understood and formed a seal with his hands. His divine blood boiled and resonated with each other. A beautiful bloody light spread out and enveloped Di Mingtian's body. Di Mingtian waved his halberd to block the sword. The overbearing sword couldn't be completely neutralized, and the true essence in his body surged violently. Di Mingtian's true essence couldn't keep up, and his body was penetrated. Streams of blood were separated from his body and flew to Ji Yuechu. Seeing that the divine blood was about to leave his body, Di Mingtian roared angrily. The crown on his head shattered, and a silver light bloomed. God-slaying halberd. Ji Yuechu came back to his senses and hurriedly blocked the attack. He couldn't activate his cultivation technique in time and retreated a few steps. Ning Chen's eyes narrowed. Just as he was about to attack again, his expression suddenly changed, and he looked at the sky above the Hall of the Dead. Above the Hall of the Dead, a terrifying 1,000-foot-long gully appeared again. An aura that was no weaker than or even stronger than the 10 ancestors of the Hall of the Dead quickly awakened and spread out. Let's go. Since the battle wasn't going well, Ning Qin cut open the battle and said in a deep voice. Not far away, Ji Yuechu also felt the terrifying pressure from the alternate space. He no longer hesitated and shouted, "Retreat!" In the various battles, the experts of the Ji family and the 2 pavilions heard the order and retreated out of the forbidden land of absolute beginning. Sacred Lord, help me! Seeing the experts of the Hall of the Dead behind him, Ning Qin shouted. Hearing that, Ji Yuechu's figure flashed and instantly appeared behind Ning Qin. He gathered his true essence and channeled it into his body. 100 suns returned to the east. Ning Qin pointed and gathered his true essence. Flames gushed out from the phoenix cry sword, and 100 suns soared into the sky, illuminating the world. In the next moment, 100 suns fell like rain, turning 100 miles around the Hall of the Dead into a sea of fire. After that, the two figures flashed and quickly retreated, disappearing in the blink of an eye. In the flames, Di Mingtian and Mo Luotian walked out. Looking at the group of people leaving, their expressions were unusually cold. How much divine blood was taken? Mo Luotian asked. 60%, Di Mingtian replied. Mo Luotian's eyes narrowed. They actually lost so much. A ninth disciple of the Mahist sect had messed up all their arrangements. After the Ji family and the two palaces' armies left, the terrifying aura above the Hall of the Dead gradually disappeared. The huge gully in the space closed and returned to normal. In the starry sky, the war chariot rumbled as it streaked through the void, returning to the White Emperor's star. In this battle, the Ji family and the two palaces' experts had suffered quite a bit of losses. The Hall of the Dead's strength was shocking. After thousands of years of recuperation, they had shocked the world with a single brilliant feat. Sacred Master, we won't travel together any longer. We'll return to report first. Halfway back, the Heaven Mending Pavilion's martial leader Qi Wenzhu and the Qilin Pavilion's head Grand Elder Lin Shaohan bid their farewells and left. Before leaving, they looked at the red-robed youth not far away thoughtfully. The three sides parted ways. Ning Chen followed Ji Yuechu back to the White Emperor's city and sat down to talk in the sacred hall. Little brother Ning, I have to thank you this time. Ji Yuechu looked at the person in front of him. Senior Sacred Master is too courteous. I failed to help Senior Sacred Master take back all of Miss Ji's bloodline strength, said Ning Chen softly. You can't be blamed for this. The Hall of the Dead's strength was originally the strongest among all the inheritances. It wasn't easy for them to have such a result. At this point, Ji Yuechu changed the topic and reminded, little brother Ning, the two people from the Qilin Pavilion and the Heaven Mending Pavilion looked at you strangely. You have to be careful. Senior Sacred Master, thank you for your reminder. Ning Chen nodded and said, will not being able to take back all of Miss Ji's bloodline strength have a big impact? Ji Yuechu shook his head and said, there will be an impact, but it won't be too big. Yuqing's divine blood is the purest in the Ji family in so many years. It's enough to take back 60% of her bloodline strength this time. The rest will require time to recuperate. Junior can rest assured then. Ning Chen replied. He thought for a moment and hesitated for a moment. In the end, he still said, Sacred Master, Junior has a presumptuous request. I hope Sacred Master can agree to it. Ji Yuechu was puzzled and said, what is it? Little brother Ning, don't hesitate. You're my Ji family's friend. I'll try my best to satisfy your request. Ning Chen's expression became serious and he said sincerely, Junior wants to take a look at the Ji family's divine scroll. Sacred Master can state the conditions, even if you use other heavenly books to exchange. Ji Yuechu frowned after hearing this. After a long time, he asked, can I know what you want the divine scroll for? To break through to the immortal treading realm. Ning Chen did not hide and replied, Junior's aptitude is limited and has been trapped at the peak of the Xiantian realm for 100 years. The divine scroll is the highest among the 10 heavenly books. Its power is extraordinary. Perhaps it can help Junior break through this insurmountable barrier. So you really haven't stepped into the immortal treading realm. The treasures on your body are really powerful. Even I can't see through your cultivation. Ji Yuechu sighed. I've let Sacred Master see a joke. Junior's aptitude is too low. I've been walking this step for a long time, but I still can't succeed. Ning Chen replied. Little brother Ning, do you know that the divine scroll is a secret of the Ji family's Sacred Master's bloodline? Even the grand elders in the family don't have the qualifications to cultivate it, Ji Yuechu said calmly. I know. Ning Chen nodded. I really want to help you, but the divine scroll is never passed to outsiders. I can't agree to your request unless, Ji Yuechu looked at the person in front of him and continued, you'll become a member of the Ji family's Sacred Master's bloodline. Ning Chen frowned and said, Sacred Master, what do you mean? You'll marry Yuqing, Ji Yuechu said seriously. Chapter 8:19. In the Ji clan's sacred palace, Ji Yuechu spoke. Ning Chen fell silent. After a while, he shook his head and said, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I'm already married. Ji Yuechu frowned. When? Why haven't I heard Yuqing mention it? Just after we left the ancient path. Ning Chen said calmly. I have no reason to lie to senior. Besides, I have countless enemies. It's not a wise choice for you to choose me. Ji Yuechu sighed with emotion, and said, I more or less understand what you are capable of. Unfortunately, you are already married, which truly surprises me. Ning Chen looked at the Ji clan's sacred leader and said, Senior sacred leader, I have something I hope you can listen to. Although the parents' opinions are important during a wedding, Miss Ji's personal wishes are the most important. This kind of thing can't be forced. I treat Miss Ji as a friend, and Miss Ji should be the same. With Miss Ji's appearance and upbringing, she will definitely meet her true love in the future. However, that person won't be me. After hearing the former's words, a complicated expression appeared in Ji Yuechu's eyes. It seemed that this matter was truly impossible. His impression of this child was quite good. It was truly too much of a pity. Since he already knew the answer, Ning Chen didn't stay any longer. He stood up and bowed respectfully. Senior Sacred Master, I've disturbed you for a long time. Junior will take his leave first. Ji Yuechu stood up and sighed. I'm deeply regretful that I can't help you. I know you have many things to do, so I won't keep you any longer. See you again. See you again. Ning Chen nodded and turned to leave. Looking at Ning Chen's back, Ji Yuechu's expression became even more complicated. Such a talented young man couldn't become a member of his Ji family. He was really unwilling. Even the divine scroll and the pearl of my Ji family can't change his mind. Sacred Master, this young man is truly a fool. One of the Ji family's supreme elders stepped forward and spoke while looking ahead. It's rare for a person to be so foolish. With his martial talent, it's unimaginable that he could reach this level. Perhaps this word, fool, is the most important reason why he surpassed all the younger generation. Ji Yuechu sighed. Half a day later, Ning Chen returned to Phoenix Cry City. Thoughts flashed through his eyes as he walked. There were gains and losses in this trip. Unfortunately, it was confirmed that he couldn't obtain the divine scroll. He had to find another way to break through the barrier. Not far away, in front of the majestic palace, Lin Yuzhen stood there, waiting for Ning Chen's return. Not long after, Ning Chen entered the palace and walked step by step towards the palace. Their gazes met calmly and peacefully. Ning Chen walked forward and returned the Phoenix Cry sword. Many thanks. Lin Yuzhen took the Phoenix Cry sword and asked softly, Are you leaving? Ning Chen nodded. I haven't finished my business, so I have to leave. Lin Yuzhen was silent. After a while, she said, Qing Ning and the others told me a little about your matter before they left. The place with the most demonic aura in the world is the former demonic sect. However, after the chaos of the three sects, the demonic sect disappeared from this world. No one knows where they are now. Whether you can find them or not will depend on your luck. Ning Chen nodded. He thought for a while and said, Your Highness, you still have to be patient about the Qilin Pavilion. Such a huge force can't be destroyed easily. Your Highness needs to wait for an opportunity. If the opportunity comes one day, I will definitely come back to help. When Lin Yuzhen heard this, she smiled and said, I understand. You can go. Ning Chen clasped his fist and bowed. He didn't say anything else and turned to leave. In front of the palace, Lin Yuzhen looked at the former's departing figure. Although her eyes were calm, there were ripples in her heart. His path was long and bumpy. Whether it was recovering his two bodies or stepping into the immortal realm, it wasn't easy. However, once he succeeded, no one in the world could defeat him. After another 100 days, in the Alcade Galaxy, where the demonic sect used to be, a red figure walked over slowly. She looked at the dilapidated halls in front of her and a ray of light flashed. The world didn't tolerate the existence of the demonic sect. It was even more impossible to tolerate the existence of the demonic sect. In the War of the Three Sects, many sects helped. In the end, Taoism was destroyed, Buddhism was greatly damaged, and the demonic sect disappeared. It could be said that there was no winner and the world lost. The recovery of the demonic body required a large amount of demonic aura. Therefore, he had to find the demonic sect. This was his only choice. Walking step by step in the demonic sect ruins, Ning Chen scanned with his divine sense, looking for any traces left behind. However, the result was always unsatisfactory. After thousands of years, all traces had been erased. Besides the ruins that caused one to sigh, nothing else could be seen. Marquis Jiming, you shouldn't have come here. At this moment, a beautiful figure slowly descended from the sky. She held a red paper umbrella that blocked the cold moonlight. A pure and holy aura spread out in the night sky. It was very eye-catching. It's you. Ning Chen looked over and saw the person. His expression turned cold. Enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road. Taisha was unsheathed, and a dazzling green light shone. Sword intent rose around Ning Chen like starlight, dazzling and eye-catching. 100 years ago, you were still no match for me with 3 bodies. Today, you only have 1 body left, and you dare to raise your sword against me? Moon Weaver stepped forward with the umbrella. Looking at the abandoned demonic palace ruins, a trace of emotion flashed in her eyes. Who are you? How do you know where I came from? Ning Chen did not hide the murderous intent in his eyes as he said coldly. In the human realm beyond heaven, there were very few people who knew his identity. He did not know this woman, but she knew everything about his past. It was very strange. There is a technique in this world called the soul-searching art. Is it very difficult to find out where you came from? Moon Weaver indifferently said. Ning Chen was startled at first, and then his expression changed. His killing intent crazily erupted, and Taisha's sword shone with dazzling light as he slashed down. With a boom, the 2 swords clashed. An astonishing silver divine sword appeared in Moon Weaver's hand and blocked Taisha's sword light. The Dao sword. Moon Weaver looked at the green sword in Ning Chen's hand, a cold light flashing in her eyes. True essence surged around her as she swung her sword to push back the person in front of her. What did you do to Butterfly in the Flower? Ning Chen asked, his face filled with killing intent. Oh. Moon Weaver's expression changed. You can guess that the person I soul-searched is Butterfly in the Flower. You truly live up to your name. You still haven't answered me. Ning Chen's killing intent grew even thicker as he coldly said. Moon Weaver sneered, and the moonlight in her hand blossomed. If you want to know the answer, let me see if you have the right. As you wish. Overflowing with killing intent, it was difficult to suppress. The light of the 4 symbols rose around Ning Chen, catalyzing his phoenix blood ancestral awakening. His long hair instantly turned red and danced in the wind. An instant later, his red clothes disappeared, and his sword moved with him. There was only one sword that surpassed the peak in the world. It was fast, so fast that the wind howled. It was strong, so strong that it could not be refuted. 100 years ago and 100 years later, only the sword accompanied him for life. Moon Weaver swung her sword to block. The sword light was fast, and the flames blazed. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged 100 moves, and she was not at a disadvantage at all. You want to use extreme speed to suppress the power of the moonlight reversal. A wise move, but it's still not enough. With that, the moonlight in Moon Weaver's hand blossomed. The moment the 2 swords clashed, Ning Chen's body sank, and his legs sank into the ground with a boom. The strange power of the sword could control gravity and reverse the laws, making it impossible to guard against. Ning Chen stomped his foot and flew into the air. His left hand gathered essence, and phoenix fire rose, burning the sky and boiling the sea as it descended, engulfing hundreds of miles. Indeed, the moonlight reversal cannot affect formless objects. However, your strongest weapon is the sword in your hand. If you don't use your sword, how can you defeat me? Moon Weaver said with an indifferent expression as she looked at the rising phoenix flames around her. Ning Chen did not answer. Waves of fire surged around him, and the rising sun shone in the east. The heavenly book martial arts appeared again. The divine sun rose into the sky, illuminating the night. The next moment, it fell, burning the world. The phoenix fire assisted the sun, and its power was shocking. Moon Weaver's eyes narrowed, and the cold air on her sword increased. She slashed with her sword, blocking the divine sun. The two extremes clashed, and the heavens and earth shook. Above the ruins of the demon palace, the void rumbled and collapsed. Book of the Sun, 9 suns burning the heavens. After the rising sun, the 9 suns fell from the sky. Phoenix fire gathered, and its power multiplied. Moon Weaver's eyes turned cold. The moonlight reversal in her hand turned, and the ice condensed the water vapor between heaven and earth, rushing toward the 9 suns. Rumbling sounds shook intensely, the aftermath vast and mighty. The sun and moon lost their color, and within the waves of clouds, the collapsed void gradually recovered. However, the shaking of heaven and earth didn't stop for a long time. This was a battle at the pinnacle. The two shockingly powerful people clashed with each other, and the destructive power caused the ruins of the demon palace to become even more devastated. In just 100 years, your growth is admirable. Moon Weaver waved her sword to disperse the surrounding shockwaves. She looked calmly at the youth in front of her. 100 years ago, this youth's 3 bodies had not been her match. 100 years later, he was able to fight her to this extent with just his phoenix body. It was truly extraordinary. You praise me too much. Ning Chen's figure slowly descended. The enemy is getting stronger and stronger. Knowing destiny does not dare to stop. I'll ask you again, what did you do to the butterfly in the flower? Defeat me and I'll tell you, said Moon Weaver indifferently. There was no turning back. Ning Chen did not say anything else. He pointed his finger, and the 100 suns rose once more. The 100 suns returned to the east. The sun true scripture appeared once more. Night turned into day, and shocking scenes shook the 9 heavens and 10 earths. The ground within 1,000 miles began to disintegrate, and the ruins of the demon palace began to show signs of collapse. Giant fissures intersected, so deep that the bottom could not be seen. Extreme Tao, chaotic reversal. The Moon Weaver whispered. Her silhouette flashed, and her sword broke through the air. Silver light filled the air. Ning Chen clenched his left hand, and a white rainbow appeared. An extremely soft sword wrapped around the moonlight, trapping the former. In the blink of an eye, 100 suns fell into the world. The terrifying scene of a meteor shower instantly engulfed the entire Devil Palace ruins. In an instant, the ground within 100 miles caved in. The sand was like a raging wave, completely engulfing the two figures. Chapter 820. In the ruins of the demon palace, 100 suns fell. Destructive power erupted, causing the heavens to collapse and the earth to fall. All the stars in the sky lost their color. Everything was within reach. The inverted moon was bound by the white rainbow, but Moon Weaver's expression was not flustered. The corners of her mouth curved up, and the silver light on her sword flourished. The white rainbow trembled, unraveling itself. The 100 suns fell, drowning the area within 100 li of the two. Rumbling sounds rang out, and waves of dust soared into the sky. A red paper umbrella appeared in the surging dust. The Moon Weaver waved her hand to disperse the waves of fire. She looked at the figure in front of her and stepped forward, brandishing her sword. With a clang, the two swords clashed once more. Ning Chen's body became light, and he involuntarily floated into the air. The Moon Weaver's power once more displayed its wonders. The Moon Weaver wiped away a trace of blood at the corner of her mouth. She looked at the figure floating in the air, and with a stomp of her foot, she leapt into the air. Her sword once more slashed out, its power even greater than before. The ground shook violently as the red-clothed figure fell from the sky, creating waves of sand. On the ground, Ning Chen steadied himself and looked at the woman holding the umbrella in the sky. His eyes flashed with a serious look. It seemed that the attack just now had completely enraged this woman. Even the power of her attack was much more powerful than before. In the air, the Moon Weaver slowly descended with her red umbrella. The Moon Weaver's silver light grew brighter and brighter. "If you don't use your full strength, you won't be able to walk out of here alive," said the Moon Weaver coldly. Ning Chen's expression hardened. He clenched his left hand, and immortal execution appeared. Red light soared into the sky, sealing the heavens and the earth. In an instant, the red-clothed figure disappeared, and the wind and clouds on his sword changed. With a boom, immortal execution and Moon Weaver clashed. Waves of dust surged, and Ning Chen's body sank, his legs sinking into the ground. Red light soared as Ning Chen pulled himself out of the ground. Genesis Supreme slashed down with him, and the two swords clashed once more. This was an unparalleled art of the sword. With the divine sword in hand, the Moon Weaver suppressed knowing destiny's every move, making it difficult for his attacks to be effective. The red light that rose from the ground became more and more dazzling. The earthly chi under the demonic palace was swallowed by the celestial trapping sword and turned into sword chi that filled the sky. There was no beginning or end, it was endless. As the red light entered the sword, Ning Chen's attacks became even fiercer. Every move of immortal slaying and Taisher was as fast as lightning, as heavy as a mountain. After exchanging dozens of blows, Moon Weaver suddenly frowned. She knocked away the person in front of her with her sword, and a cold light flashed across her face as she looked at the trembling inverted moon in her hand. "Did you notice?" Ning Chen's silhouette moved again, the immortal slayer slashing down. The incomparably sharp immortal weapon of slaughter once again slashed at the sword in the former's hand, hitting the exact same spot. Ka! As the two swords clashed, an extremely fine crack appeared on the inverted water moon. Even a peerless divine artifact would find it hard to endure the consecutive heavy blows at the same location. It showed signs of collapse. Despicable. The Moon Weaver's expression darkened as she pushed the young man back with a wave of her hand. Then, she stepped into the air and brandished her divine sword. Amidst the dazzling light, a gigantic beam of starlight appeared, gathering the spiritual energy of heaven and earth and gathering the essence of the moon. Extreme Tao, Moon Goddess Command. In an instant, the starlight spun, and beam after beam of sword light shot out, destroying heaven and earth. Sword Technique, Dragon Phoenix Burial. When Extreme Tao appeared, heaven and earth grieved. Ning Chen focused and stopped moving. His entire body glowed brilliantly. Borrowing strength, a dragon and a phoenix intertwined and broke through the sky. When the extreme powers collided, heaven and earth were boundless. The dragon and phoenix scattered, and the starlight was extinguished. The aftermath shook and thousands of miles turned into nothingness. Ugh! There was a muffled sound as blood splattered. Hong Yi retreated half a step, and bits of vermilion fell. Amidst the dust and sand, Moon Weaver's silhouette appeared. The divine sword pierced through Ning Chen's chest, and blood continuously dripped down, dyeing the ground red. "I said before entering the immortal realm, you are no match for me." Moon Weaver looked at the person in front of her and said coldly. "Caught you." Ning Chen endured the injury in his chest and raised his hand to grab the former's arm. Then, the bloody light around him surged wildly. As the earth rumbled, the immortal trap soared into the sky. The sky was filled with red light that transformed into swords. Nirvana. Zhu Xian slashed, and Nirvana reappeared. Rays of sword light tore through the sky, swallowing heaven and earth. It was incomparably magnificent. Phoenix Nirvana, seeking life in the midst of death. The boundless sword stream swallowed everything in sight. Its world-shaking might shook the entire night. As danger descended, Moon Weaver's expression changed slightly. The hand holding the sword was restrained, and she could not break free. In the next moment, the sword stream fell, swallowing heaven and earth. Open! Without any hesitation, Moon Weaver shouted. The red umbrella in her left hand flew out, and moonlight fell from the sky, illuminating her body. In an instant, an incomparably terrifying aura spread out. Amidst the rumbling, the sword light that filled the sky became formless and dissipated between heaven and earth. Not far away, the drifting red umbrella fell to the ground, still and silent. With a bang, Hong Yi flew back dozens of feet and staggered to the ground, vomiting a mouthful of blood. The dust and sand dispersed, and Moon Weaver stepped out. Her long hair danced in the wind, and a terrifying demonic aura surged around her. The moon-shaped mark between her eyebrows emitted an aura that made one's heart palpitate. You're a demon. Ning Chen steadied himself and looked at the person in front of him. The Moon Demon Clan's Moon Weaver. Or perhaps you can call me the third protector of the Devil Palace, said Moon Weaver indifferently. With your strength, you're only ranked third. When Ning Chen heard this, his body trembled slightly as he said in surprise. I don't remember letting you experience my full strength. Knowledge Marquis, there are many things you don't know. If you don't step into the immortal treading realm, you'll never have the qualifications. Moon Weaver walked to the side and picked up the red umbrella once more, blocking the moonlight descending from the sky. A moment later, the devil seal vanished, and the surging demonic aura also disappeared. Everything returned to its pure and holy state. Ning Chen narrowed his eyes, and the sword intent around him also dissipated. The immortal trapping mark flew back and disappeared. To be able to force me to undo the seal, you win. Speak, what do you want to know? Asked Moon Weaver calmly. Where is the butterfly in the flower? How is she? Asked Ning Chen. The butterfly in the flower is in the Devil Palace. She's fine. As for the Devil Palace's location, I won't tell you. You don't need to ask, said Moon Weaver. Ning Chen's worry lessened slightly. He continued, last time in the ancient battlefield, Senior Apprentice Sister Dai's aura seemed a bit strange. Why is that? The 9 netherworlds heaven-devouring devil scripture. The Moon Weaver slowly spat out these words in response. Ning Chen trembled in disbelief. He had heard this name before. It was a lost devil scripture that had the ability to devour all sources. How had Senior Apprentice Sister Dai obtained this technique? It seems you have some understanding of this technique. Before mastering the 9 netherworlds heaven-devouring devil scripture, one must constantly devour other people's sources. Otherwise, it will backfire on one's body. The butterfly in the flower is destined to not be accepted by this world. The Devil Palace is the only place she can go, said Moon Weaver. Ning Chen was silent for a moment before asking, can I go see her at the Devil Palace? I already said that you still have the qualifications. If you want to enter the Devil Palace, wait until you step into the immortal treading realm, said Moon Weaver. Ning Chen nodded and didn't ask any more questions. Wait. Behind him, Moon Weaver indifferently said, why did you come here? I need devil yuan. A lot of it. Ning Chen stopped and said calmly. Let's make a deal. I'll tell you a place, and you have to agree to one of my conditions. How about it? Suggested Moon Weaver. Ning Chen looked back at her and narrowed his eyes. What condition? I haven't thought about it yet. However, it will definitely be within the limits of your ability, said Moonweaver. Ning Chen thought for a moment and nodded. All right, I agree. Head west. 5,000 miles from here, there is 1,000 devil nest. There is an endless amount of devil yuan inside. However, whether or not you can come out alive after entering will depend on your luck, said Moonweaver. Many thanks. Ning Chen didn't say anything else and turned to leave. Knowledge Marquis, I will be watching you from the Devil Palace. Don't disappoint me. After she finished speaking, Moonweaver's figure soared into the sky, and not long after, she disappeared into the horizon. A day later, Ning Chen arrived in front of the 1,000 devil nest. However, he wasn't in a hurry to enter. He sat down outside and began to heal. Moonweaver's words were very clear. This place was extremely dangerous, and he had to be careful. Outside the 1,000 devil nest, there was not a single blade of grass or tree growing within several hundred miles. It was an abnormally desolate land of death. It was so quiet that it made one's heart palpitate. For an entire 10 days, Ning Chen didn't get up. He was focused on healing his injuries. On the 11th day, at noon, when the yang qi was at its densest, Ning Chen got up and walked into the 1,000 devil nest. Yin qi curled around this place. Not long after entering, he felt an extremely uncomfortable aura fill the air. It was indescribable, but it was very clear. Ning Chen's expression became grave. Phoenix flames rose around him, resisting the corrosion of the Yin ghost qi. After walking for a long time, he didn't see anything. Ning Chen's divine sense spread out, wanting to investigate the structure of the 1,000 devil nest. However, as soon as his divine sense was released, he felt an unshakable pressure press down on him, sealing his divine sense. Ning Chen frowned slightly. What a strange cave. There was actually a formation of the divine restriction level here. Was it sealing something? That Moonweaver didn't reveal anything. She was definitely hiding many things. This 1,000 devil nest most likely had some incredible existence. After walking for more than an hour and taking countless turns, the formation's suppression on the divine sense became stronger and stronger. In the end, it was impossible to even release one's divine sense. What a powerful formation. Ning Chen's expression became even more grave. Although his cultivation hadn't broken through the peak of the Xiantian realm, his divine sense was no weaker than any true realm expert. Suddenly, Yin Qi curled up in front of him. A floating white figure appeared. Its face was sinister, and it opened its mouth to bite. Ning Chen raised his hand. Phoenix flames surged, instantly swallowing the figure. Ah! A mournful cry rang out. The white figure gradually dispersed, disappearing from the world. Yin spirit? Seeing that the white figure had completely disappeared, Ning Chen narrowed his eyes. Yin spirits were formed from the souls of living creatures after they died. They weren't common, because the souls of ordinary people were extremely weak. After death, they would naturally dissipate. Something was wrong. Seeing the black mist that appeared when the white figure dissipated, Ning Chen's expression became serious. This wasn't a human soul. Chapter 821. Within the 1,000 devil nest, Ning Chen was searching for devil essence. Yin spirits appeared, blocking his path. Phoenix flames spread out, and the divine flames refined the Yin spirits. Within the dissipating white mist, a black aura appeared, revealing the Yin spirits' identities when they were alive. Devil spirits? Ning Chen's expression turned serious. Looking at the Yin spirits floating in front of him, he raised his right hand, and a wave of fire surged out. The divine flames burned, and hundreds of Yin spirits screamed before dissipating. Black mist filled the air, returning to the world. Ning Chen waved his hand, capturing the black mist. He probed it with his true qi, and a serious expression appeared on his face. It was indeed demonic qi. How could there be so many devil spirits in this place? In this world, devils almost didn't exist, let alone suppressing so many of them. After thinking for a moment, Ning Chen came back to his senses and continued forward. Outside the thousand devil nest, time slowly passed. The sun set in the west, and the world's yin qi flourished, while the yang qi rapidly weakened. Within the cave, the moment the day and night changed, the atmosphere changed. Waves of terrifying auras awakened, strange and terrifying, making one's heart feel stuffy. Phoenix. In the dusky sky, huge demonic figures appeared one after another. Looking at the figure below, they asked, "Why did you come here?" "Why can't I come?" Ning Chen calmly asked. "Ha!" Crazy laughter rang out within the cave, and a malevolent face appeared, overflowing with hatred. A majestic fire god actually appeared in the thousand devil nest. What a joke! "Phoenix, state your purpose for coming here." Another demonic shadow appeared and said in a relatively calm tone. "I need devil essence, a large amount of devil essence." Ning Chen looked at the illusory figures in front of him and said, "Devil essence? What do you need devil essence for?" A third demonic figure appeared, speaking coldly. "This has nothing to do with you," Ning Chen indifferently said. "All right." The demonic figure that spoke before spoke again, "As long as you destroy the soul-subduing banner in this thousand devil nest, we will give you devil essence, an endless amount of devil essence." Soul-subduing banner? Ning Chen's eyes narrowed. "Where is it?" "Follow us." A demonic figure with an ancient voice spoke. Immediately, the figure moved and walked forward. Ning Chen stepped forward to catch up, heading towards the depths of the thousand devil nest together. After walking for an unknown amount of time, outside the thousand devil nest, the sky had already turned completely dark. The cold moon hung high in the sky, and the yin qi in the world had also reached its peak. Inside thousand devil nest, the demonic figure's auras became more and more powerful. The weather changed, allowing a portion of the demon's power to be released. Just a bit was already terrifying enough to make one tremble. Ning Chen followed behind the group of demons. His expression was as calm as water, without a single ripple. "We're here." At this moment, the demonic figures stopped moving forward. Ning Chen stepped forward and looked at the green flag stuck on the wall in the depths of the cave. His eyes narrowed slightly. Was this the soul-subduing banner? It didn't seem to be anything special. "As long as you destroy it, we'll give you as much devil essence as you want," said one of the devilish figures. Ning Chen turned around and looked at the flickering demonic figures in the sky. He said calmly, "I don't believe you. If I destroy this soul-suppressing banner, I'm afraid the first person you want to kill will be me." "Then what do you want?" The demons suppressed the anger in their hearts and said, "I'll lay down a restriction. Once you send out your devil essence, you'll enter. Once I destroy this soul-suppressing banner and leave, you should be able to come out," suggested Ning Chen. "No." The demons refused. "Once you obtain the devil essence and trap us in the restriction, if you don't keep your promise and destroy the soul-suppressing banner, what can we do to you?" Ning Chen waved his hand, and the immortal execution sword appeared. Its baleful aura was extremely oppressive. "Everyone, you don't have a choice. This soul-suppressing banner shouldn't be so easy to destroy. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been trapped here until now. I think that if I leave today, it'll be difficult for you to find a second person," said Ning Chen. Immortal execution. The demons were all shaken when they saw the broken ancient sword in Ning Chen's hand. A moment later, they said, "Fine." In the next moment, endless devil essence gathered from all directions. It was vast and surging like 100 rivers converging. It was shockingly majestic. A strange light flashed through Ning Chen's eyes. Just how many devil spirits were trapped in the thousand devil nest? Just who was it that killed them all and suppressed them here? The devil essence gathered, becoming denser and denser. Ning Chen raised his hand, and the image of a phoenix appeared behind him. An illusory black-clothed figure appeared. Its eyes were closed, and its aura was abnormally weak. Ha! With a light shout, Ning Chen poured the devil essence into his body, and with a flip of his palm, the devil essence converging in the horizon continuously poured into his body, helping it recover. So you're also a devil. Within the 1,000 devil nest, the demons were first startled when they saw the black-clothed figure floating in the air. A deity transforming into a devil, how ironic. A demonic shadow with an extremely powerful aura said mockingly. What is a deity and what is a devil? Can you give me an accurate distinction? Asked Ning Chen indifferently. Ha! The demon sneered. You're right. Deities and devils are just foolish people who make their own judgments. The winner is king, and the loser is a bandit. Since ancient times, we've lost, so we're naturally devils. Brat, you're very much to our liking. Once we get out, we'll help you kill whoever you want, laughed the other devils. Many thanks, seniors. Ning Chen bowed respectfully and replied. Brat, I can see that you have a human bloodline. There are very few humans who become devils. It seems you've experienced quite a bit, said the first demon. I had no choice but to become a devil, said Ning Chen calmly. Hate then. Hatred is the source of our strength. Since you're a devil, so what if you slaughter the world? As long as you're willing, we're willing to help you, said the demon. While Ning Chen and the other devils were talking, the black-clothed figure in the air was constantly absorbing the devil essence of the 1,000 devil nest. Its illusory figure gradually solidified. Devil marks curled around it, and its aura was noble and powerful. Royal Celestial Devil. The other devils sensed it and their souls shook. There's actually a celestial devil in this world, and a royal one at that. Mo Ying, who was the most powerful among the group of demons, asked in surprise. Ning Chen raised his head and glanced at the gradually solidifying figure. Everyone seems to know the origin of the celestial devils. Can you tell me? You don't know? Asked the strongest demon. I don't know. Ning Chen shook his head. I obtained this celestial devil's essence by chance. As for its origin, I don't know. The celestial devil race is not a race of this world. Humanity is the leader of this world's myriad races. However, humanity's strength has not always been like this. Before the ancient era, the myriad races existed side by side. Humanity was not the absolute ruler. Even the immortal world was not ruled by humanity. For example, the master of the Western immortal world, the Queen Mother of the West, was actually a devil and not a human. Of course, the Queen Mother of the West and the experts of the other 3 immortal worlds had a peaceful relationship with humanity. The main reason for this was the master of the Eastern immortal world, who was so powerful that even the heavens and earth trembled. The 4 immortal worlds kept each other in check. The myriad races were also relatively peaceful. There were not many conflicts. However, there are always changes in everything. Before the great change in the ancient age, at the end of the Western immortal realm, a crack appeared in the sky and earth, and the celestial demon clan emerged from it. The celestial demons fed on human beings, and the human race fought back. Gradually, the clans that were on good terms with the human race also joined the battle. At the same time, the celestial demons roped in many large clans that were already dissatisfied with the human race. The war had reached its climax. Tens of thousands of races participated in the war, and all their dissatisfaction erupted in this war. The past forbearance and hypocrisy all became backstabbing schemes. This was the darkest period of the world. Almost no one dared to trust others. Thousands of races were wiped out in the war, completely becoming history. In the end, the peerless and invincible immortal master of the Eastern immortal world took action and killed all the instigators of the celestial devil race. The celestial devil race's vitality was greatly damaged. The Queen Mother of the West also took action personally. The Queen Mother of the West cut open the starry sky and buried the passage that the celestial devil race used to enter this world into the heavenly river, completely cutting off the hope of the celestial devil race reappearing in this world. In the next few hundred years, the four immortal worlds kept sending experts to kill the remnants of the celestial devil race in this world until all the celestial devils disappeared. Therefore, the celestial devil race is a taboo in this world. They are also the culprits that caused the great war between the myriad races. You have the power of a royal celestial devil. If you are used by others, you will be consigned to eternal damnation. I see. Ning Chen's eyes flashed with surprise. He did not expect the celestial devil race to have such a history. Junior, your demonic body's strength has almost recovered. It's time to fulfill your promise. Seeing that they were chatting happily, the demonic shadow spoke again. Ning Chen nodded. The phoenix image behind him appeared and swallowed the demonic body. It's not that Junior doesn't believe you seniors, but one must always be on guard against others. I will have to inconvenience you seniors first. While speaking, Ning Chen formed seals with both hands. Complicated and peculiar seals entered the void and sealed the surrounding space. We can understand. All the demons responded and entered the Yellow Spring Forbidden Land one by one. The surging demonic flow was so shocking. The demons that had been sealed in Thousand Devil Nest for countless years could not hide the excitement in their hearts. They all took the initiative to enter the divine Forbidden Land, waiting for the moment the seal was broken. Phoenix, many thanks. The last demon, who was also the strongest, suppressed the emotions in his heart and entered the Yellow Spring Forbidden Land. A pair of cold eyes looked at the red-clothed figure outside the Yellow Spring Forbidden Land, waiting for him to take action. Seeing that all the demons had entered the divine Forbidden Land, Ning Chen walked to the front of the soul-subduing banner. He stood there for a moment and slashed the banner. In an instant, inside the divine Forbidden Land, Thousand Devil's face revealed a crazed expression. The demonic nature and killing intent were involuntarily exposed. Amen. Just when all the demons thought that freedom had arrived, the immortal execution sword that was slashing the soul-subduing banner stopped. Sorry. Ning Chen turned around and looked at the demons inside the divine Forbidden Land. He said indifferently, I was just lying to you. I am also a demon. Do you think a demon will believe the goodwill of a group of demons? Just as he finished speaking, the King of Hell appeared in front of the red-clothed figure. The divine zither slays demons. Chapter 822. Inside the Thousand Devil Nest, the King of Hell appeared, and the white tiger divine god's weapon of slaughter rang out. The terrifying sound reverberated, destroying one's soul. In an instant, miserable cries rang out from the Yellow Spring divine restriction. Wherever the sound passed, the void distorted, and the formless sound waves rushed towards the origin of the demons, bringing out a waterfall of black mist. You didn't keep your word. Distorted faces and malicious curses were heard. The origin of the demons was constantly dissipating, and they were also restricted by the Yellow Spring. They could neither advance nor retreat. Keep my word. I'm not stupid enough to keep my word with the demons. While speaking, Ning Chen's phoenix essence kept rising, catalyzing the divine zither's slaughter power, mercilessly slaughtering the demons. Bang, bang. Explosive sounds rang out, and in the reverberating King of Hell's profound sound, several demons could not bear the terrifying killing aura. Their souls exploded, and their origin aura dissipated between heaven and earth. Ha! Ning Chen shouted, and the phoenix appeared behind him, spitting out the demon body. Immediately, the demon essence released by the demons before they exploded was absorbed into the demon body, speeding up its recovery. The demons were alarmed, and they kept attacking the Yellow Spring divine restriction. However, the profound sound penetrated their souls, and their power was restricted, making it difficult for them to use even 10 or 20%. The supreme phoenix essence was sublimated, and in the entire Thousand Devil Nest, red light flickered. The phoenix that was reborn before nirvana, although its cultivation did not break through perfection, its foundation and bloodline were stronger than before, approaching atavism. King of Hell divine Zither's voice shook the world, and the phoenix's divine flames were dazzling. The most terrifying demon-slaying combination turned Thousand Devil Nest into a purgatory, incinerating all demons. All of you, block the Zither sound, I will break through this restriction. Just as the demons were about to perish, the strongest demon among them yelled in a deep voice. Ah! Before it finished speaking, several more demons were wiped out by the Zither sound, and their demonic essence dispersed, sucked dry. Without any other choice, the demons forcefully used what little soul power they had left to form a barrier in front of the desolate demon, giving him time to prepare. Outside the divine restriction, Ning Chen saw this, and his left hand streaked across the Zither strings. Drops of phoenix blood dyed the Zither red, and divine flames illuminated the world, transforming into a phoenix. King of Hell, silence, life and death is determined. With a thump, the Zither sound waves spread out. In the Thousand Devil Nest, heaven and earth darkened, and then there was a terrifying destruction. Wherever the phoenix-shaped Zither sound waves passed, heaven and earth was destroyed. The demons groaned in unison. Black mist exploded and hundreds of demonic shadows dispersed. Demonic chi was sucked out and seeped into the body of the black-clothed figure floating in the void. Block it. Seeing Qin Bo's astonishing power, among the devils, Desolate Devil bellowed and said angrily. Upon hearing this, all of the demons raised their soul power once more. Billowing demonic waves transformed into an inescapable net that forcefully obstructed the Zither music. The phoenix screeched and flames curled up around it. It broke through the inescapable net and crashed into the 10,000 demons. Immediately, shrill cries filled the air. Demonic shadows exploded one after another, unable to withstand the power of the young godly fire. 9 thoughts of divine transformation, 8 desolations of demons. The moment the extreme divine flame arrived, among the devils, Desolate Devil's devil essence was fully accumulated. With a deep shout, his devil might erupted. Demonic essence shook the phoenix fire. This was a direct confrontation between a god and a demon. Rumbling sounds echoed throughout the heavens and earth. The phoenix that had withstood tens of thousands of demons gradually dissipated in the demonic essence. Break for me. With the appearance of hope, Desolate Devil activated his soul force again, his devil essence sweeping out, smashing into the divine forbidden barrier in front of him. You can't come out. Ning Qin snorted coldly. With a wave of his left hand, an illusory bell image appeared in the divine forbidden barrier. An incomparable pressure surged out, instantly destroying all the laws in the surroundings. The immortal bell appeared again, the demonic essence collided with it. With a violent tremor, the bell swayed. An unprecedented terror appeared. The bell waves vibrated, destroying the heavens and earth. Eastern Emperor Bell. Seeing the immortal bell that appeared in the void, Desolate Devil's pupils shrank as he cried out involuntarily. Who exactly are you? Why do you have the immortal artifact of the Lord of the Eastern Immortal World? If you want to know who I am, ask King Yama when you reach the underworld. She will tell you. Ning Chen's left hand slashed across the divine Zither. Blood splattered as the phoenix fire ignited the prairie. The increasingly terrifying Zither music surged out, passing through the divine forbidden barrier and colliding with the immortal bell. Dong! The sound of the bell reverberated, destroying souls and taking lives. The terrifying might made Ning Chen, who was outside the divine forbidden barrier, feel a wave of restlessness in his blood. Inside the divine forbidden barrier, more and more demonic shadows exploded. Demonic aura surged violently, constantly entering the floating demonic bodies in the void. It was endless, like an endless abyss that could never be satisfied. Forced into a dead end, under the suppression of the soul-suppressing banner, the demons were unable to use their abilities. With the suppression of the immortal bell and the divine Guqin, the number of casualties increased. In less than an hour, out of the 10,000 demonic shadows, only a few thousand great demons were barely holding on. Use the forbidden technique. Death was near, and it was hard to reverse. Desolate Devil looked at the great demons and shouted. Without any more time to hesitate, the great demons made up their minds. With a shout, their demonic souls began to burn. Demonic soul sacrifice, life synchronization curse. The demon race's forbidden technique, life synchronization curse. One by one, the great demons burned their demonic souls, using their own soul essence as a sacrifice to curse the people outside. Ah! Outside the divine forbidden barrier, Ning Chen suddenly staggered. His body ignited with a strange curse fire, and his vitality rapidly dissipated. The life synchronization curse was forbidden inside and outside the divine forbidden barrier. Thousands of great demons used their demonic souls as a sacrifice to curse knowing destiny, wanting to drag him into hell with them. With the 1,000 demon curse, Ning Chen felt a tearing pain all over his body. The hand that was playing the guqin was bleeding profusely. Phoenix, let's go to hell together. Desolate Devil formed a seal, and the soul flames around him surged like waves. Boundless soul essence burned crazily. Outside the divine forbidden barrier, Ning Chen groaned. He had a splitting headache, and the vitality in his body dissipated even faster. I have been to hell several times. Now, it is time to send you all there. Amidst the extreme pain, Ning Chen clenched his right hand. The phoenix behind him screeched, and a plain-clothed figure flew out and floated in front of him. I have plenty of vitality. With a shout, Ning Chen raised his hand and pressed it on his main body's chest. Devouring power spread out, rapidly extracting the vitality of his main body. In an instant, boundless vitality poured into his body, replenishing the vitality that was taken away by the 1,000 demon curse. Inside the divine forbidden barrier, the 1,000 demons were shocked. They looked at the phoenix's third body, and their eyes were filled with disbelief. In their memories, there were quite a number of experts who had mastered the doppelganger technique. However, there were very few people who could master all 3 bodies to such an extent. No, there is something wrong with that body of his. As the great demon's soul essence burned out, the shock in their eyes intensified. What was going on? Logically speaking, the phoenix's vitality should have been burned out long ago. Phoenix, do you really want to perish together with me? Among the demons, Desolate Demon suppressed the panic in his heart and shouted. Perish together? You are not qualified. Ning Chen endured the pain of his vitality being stripped away and said coldly. What good will it do you to kill us? As long as you are willing to stop, we are willing to follow you forever. Sensing that their soul essence was almost exhausted, the demons panicked and said anxiously. Give me your soul imprints, and I will spare your lives, Ning Chen said. Impossible. Hearing the former's request, Desolate Demon's expression changed, and he said angrily. Then go to hell. Ning Chen's eyes turned cold. His bloody left hand pulled the zither strings, and with a thump, he started the massacre again. The zither waves collided with the immortal bell, and an even more terrifying sound burst out. Several great demons could not withstand the immortal pressure, and their bodies exploded, forever disappearing from the world. Submit, or die. Ning Chen shouted again. With death in front of them, the demons did not dare to hesitate. They all knelt and offered their soul imprints. In the next moment, soul flames rose one after another and flew forward. Outside the divine restriction, Ning Chen raised his hand and grabbed the souls of the demons. His eyes looked at the only one who did not submit, and said coldly, What about you? Desolate Demon's eyes revealed a struggle. Looking at the demons kneeling in front and behind him, he was shocked and angry. Speak, submit, or die. Ning Chen shouted again. Desolate Demon's body trembled. While struggling in his heart, he still knelt down and offered his soul imprint. The soul flame flew out, and it was so bright. Ning Chen waved his hand and grabbed it. He looked at the demons kneeling in front of him and said calmly, "From today onwards, I am the monarch, and you are the ministers. If the monarch dies, the ministers die, the monarch will rise, and your names will shake the world." "Yes." The demons bowed and replied respectfully. Ning Chen walked forward and raised his hand to disperse the divine restriction. He said, "Who trapped you here?" 10,000 years ago, the heavenly Buddha Lord of Shumi Buddha country, desolate demon replied. Hearing this, Ning Chen's eyes narrowed slightly. It was actually the Buddha country's lord. These great demons were not ordinary demons when they were alive. To be able to kill and suppress them here, that heavenly Buddha Lord's strength was truly unimaginably terrifying. After thinking for a moment, Ning Chen turned back and looked at the soul-subduing banner stuck in the stone wall. After thinking for a moment, his figure flashed and came forward. He raised his hand and touched it. The soul-subduing banner trembled, and an extremely strong repulsive force came. Ning Chen frowned, and phoenix flames rose around him, covering the demonic chi around him. Not far away, the demons looked forward nervously. They had been trapped in this 1,000-devil nest for more than 10,000 years, unable to live or die. It was all because of this soul-subduing banner. In these 10,000 years, there were many people who wanted to pull out this banner, but they all failed. That heavenly Buddha Lord from 10,000 years ago was too strong. Almost no one could move a heavy artifact forged with Buddha blood. Outside the 1,000-devil nest, the cold moon shone. Under the moon, a beautiful figure descended from the sky, holding a red umbrella, as graceful as a fairy. Moon Weaver appeared and looked at the 1,000-devil nest in front of her, waiting quietly. A moment later, the ground inside and outside the 1,000-devil nest began to rumble. Cracks appeared and spread out, reaching thousands of miles away. Buddhist light flourished in the cave. A startling mysterious phenomenon shook everyone's heart. A person who slaughters Buddhas has been recognized by Buddha. How ironic! Feeling the waves of pressure coming from the 1,000-devil nest, Moon Weaver's face flashed with ridicule. Dozens of years ago, Marquis Jiming had gone to Buddha Mountain and seen Buddha. No one had expected this. Perhaps even the 3 Buddha lords of Buddha Mountain didn't think this blood-soaked youth could see Buddha. Buddha, why did you acknowledge this person? When did the mercy of Buddhism begin to forgive an executioner who had committed heinous crimes? Inside the 1,000 Buddha cave, phoenix flames curled around the soul-subduing banner. The Buddhist light on the soul-subduing banner gradually weakened. The heavy Buddhist artifact that had suppressed the 1,000-devil nest for 10,000 years flew into Jiming's hands. Buddha, the person you recognize will eventually become a member of my devil palace. Your recognition is meaningless. Moon Weaver sneered outside the cave. She didn't stay any longer and took a step forward, soaring into the sky. Chapter 823. The cold moon was desolate, and the devil's den was eerie. Around the red-clothed body, devil shadows coiled around, and devil chi surged, shocking everyone. Above the void, the devil body and the main body floated up and down. One was dressed in black, while the other was dressed in white. They had been sleeping for dozens of years, and had never woken up. Ning Chen stood in front, his left hand guiding the devil chi into the devil body, while his right hand condensed phoenix essence to repair the main body. Hours passed, and he did not rest for a moment. Behind him, thousands of great devils stood respectfully, and no one dared to disturb him. Outside the 1,000-devil nest, the cold moon moved west, and in the east, a touch of white appeared. Dawn was coming, and day and night were alternating again. Master. Inside the devil's den, desolate devil bowed respectfully and said, "The sun is about to rise, and we do not have a physical body. Our strength will soon be suppressed, and we might not be able to provide Master with enough devil chi." "It's fine, it's enough." Ning Chen put down his left hand, and the surging devil chi disappeared. He turned to look at the devils and said calmly, "I will do my best to help you find your physical bodies. Now, all of you can return to the soul-suppressing banner. Thank you, Master. The devils accepted the order, and their figures turned into black chi and flew into the soul-suppressing banner. Ning Chen waved his hand and kept the soul-suppressing banner. He looked at the two bodies floating in the void, and his eyes flashed with emotion. The phoenix had the ability to be reborn, but the devil body and the main body could not. It was not easy to restore the two bodies. Master, our devil race's power and the phoenix's power are not compatible. If Master obtains these two powers at the same time, won't there be any rejection? Inside the soul-suppressing banner, Desolate Devil was puzzled. Yes. Ning Chen nodded and said, until now, I have not been able to fuse the devil body and the phoenix body's power together. However, I have cultivated the life scroll, and can change the nature of these two powers. I can barely suppress the repulsion of the devil and phoenix essence. The beginning of the heavenly books, the life scroll? Desolate Devil was shocked and said, why did Master not use the power of this scroll just now? The foundation of the life scroll was unparalleled. If Master used the power of this scroll, together with the suppression of the soul-suppressing banner and Xian Yin, they would not even have the chance to resist. It's temporarily. Ning Chen looked at his main body floating in front of him and said, do you know where there is a large amount of life force? I need a lot of life force essence. After a long while, he opened his mouth and said, we have been trapped here for too long, and do not understand the situation outside. However, the ones who occupy the most resources in the world are undoubtedly the top sects like Buddha Mountain Shumi and the Demon Palace. If Master wants to find the source of life, perhaps he can consider these places. Buddha Mountain, Devil Palace. Ning Chen's eyes narrowed as he muttered. Master. Desolate Devil raised his voice and said solemnly, if a man doesn't do it for himself, the heavens will destroy him. Meaningless kindness is useless. With Master's strength, as long as he is ruthless, it won't be difficult for him to fight for these resources. Ning Chen did not reply. The figure of a phoenix appeared behind him, swallowing the two bodies into its stomach. Soon after, it walked out of the thousand devil nest. Indeed, he did not like fighting. Perhaps it was because he was born this way, or perhaps it was because there was too much blood on his body and he was already tired of it. However, when it was necessary, he would not be soft-hearted. Master. Desolate Devil spoke again. Say no more, I know what to do. Ning Chen walked out of the thousand devil nest and looked at the rising sun in the east. He said, now, come with me to do something. What is it? Desolate Devil asked. Kill, Ning Chen said calmly. Desolate Devil was startled. He quieted down and did not say anything else. At the same time, in the all-heaven starfield, on the vast Buddha mountain in the Shimi Buddhist kingdom, white-clothed novice monks were meditating. They were holding prayer beads and chanting Buddhist scriptures day and night. At the moment when the sun rose from the east, a figure in a silver-gray cloak slowly walked over from the east. His starry eyes were sharp, and his noble and powerful aura was shocking. On the Buddha mountain, the heavenly, earthly and human Buddhist masters sensed it. They opened their eyes and looked at the newcomer. A ray of light flashed past their eyes. That person had actually come. Ahead of them were white-clothed novice monks. The Dawn Moon Building's master walked past them. The surrounding golden Buddhist power could not touch her at all. Behind her, the veiled Hong Wuan followed silently. Dawn Moon Building's Mo Xiaowai pays his respects to the three Buddhist masters. The Dawn Moon Building's master stopped and greeted politely. Dawn Moon Building's master, we are honored by your presence. Please forgive us for not going out to welcome you, the human Buddhist master said calmly. The human Buddhist master is too courteous. I have come rashly and disturbed you, the Dawn Moon Building's master said with a smile. May I know why you have come from afar? The earthly Buddhist master asked. To see Buddha, the Dawn Moon Building's master answered honestly. Your status is extraordinary. Is there anything in the world that you cannot resolve? The human Buddhist master asked again. Several decades ago, the ninth son of the Mahist sect saw Buddha on the Buddha mountain. This matter is known to the world. I have admired it for a long time. Today, I have come to seek an audience, the Dawn Moon Building's master said calmly. You should know that Buddha is not someone you can meet just because you want to. If you are not fated, even if you can ascend the wishing mountain, you will not be able to see Buddha's face, the earthly Buddhist master replied. I have come with sincerity. I hope that the three Buddhist masters can make an exception, the Dawn Moon Building's master said seriously. What do you want to ask? The heavenly Buddhist master, who had been silent all this while, asked calmly. The fourth realm, the Dawn Moon Building's master replied. There are many inheritances in the world. The Hall of the Dead, the two lineages, and the four pavilions. None of them are weaker than the Buddha mountain. Why have you come to the Buddha mountain to inquire? The heavenly Buddhist master continued. Because the Buddha mountain is the only inheritance that has truly surpassed the third realm, the Dawn Moon Building's master replied honestly. Do you think that the Buddha of the Buddha mountain is the fourth realm? The heavenly Buddhist master asked slowly. The Dawn Moon Building's master shook her head and said, I have no intention of offending you. That day, the Buddha of the Buddha mountain appeared, and the world knew about it. I think that other than me, everyone would also want to know what the existence of Buddha represents. The heavenly Buddhist master was silent. After a while, he said, Master, I am not deliberately making things difficult for you. You are different from the ninth son of the Mahist sect. It is almost impossible for you to see Buddha. Oh. The Dawn Moon Building's master's eyes flashed with surprise. She said, I would like to hear more. Your Excellency has interacted with the ninth son of Mahist many times. You should know very well that although he is stained with blood, he is actually a very sentimental person. More importantly, he has great merit that no one else has. Even our Buddha could not easily accept his worship. He came with sincerity and knelt with sincerity, so our Buddha had no choice but to meet him, Heavenly Buddha Lord replied. Hearing this, the Dawn Moon Building's master narrowed her eyes slightly. So that was the case. It seemed that it was not a coincidence that the Marquis of Jiming could see this Buddha of the Buddha mountain. Although she did not know how strong this Buddha of the Buddha mountain was, according to the heavenly Buddhist master's words, this Buddha could not easily accept the worship of the Marquis of Jiming. This meant that this Buddha could not turn a blind eye to the karma of the world. Thank you, Buddhas. Since I have no fate with Buddha, I will not disturb you any further. See you again someday. The Dawn Moon Building's master cupped her fists and said goodbye. Amitabha. Take care, Master. The three Buddhas of heaven, earth, and man chanted together and said politely. The Dawn Moon Building's master nodded and did not stay any longer. She turned and left. Behind her, Hong Wan stepped forward and followed, her beautiful eyes full of confusion. Master, why did you leave just like that? After leaving the Buddha mountain, Hong Wan finally could not help but ask the question in her heart. The heavenly Buddhist master's meaning is very clear. This Buddha of the Buddha mountain will not appear easily. That time with the Marquis of Jiming was an exception. There is no point for us to stay any longer, the Dawn Moon Building's master said with a smile. Isn't Buddha supposed to help those who are fated? We came here with sincerity. Why didn't he even give us a chance to try? Hong Wan said with some dissatisfaction. Ha! The Dawn Moon Building's master chuckled and said, there are countless people in the world who are sincerely seeking Buddha. If Buddha had to meet every sincere person, the world would be in chaos. Therefore, it is only fair that we do not meet. Hearing this, Hong Wan was startled and fell silent. After the two left, at the peak of the Buddha mountain, the human Buddha master looked in their direction and said, Heavenly Buddhist master, the Dawn Moon Building's master is an incredible person. If you can form a good relationship with her, it will be of great help to the Buddha mountain. The heavenly Buddhist master opened his eyes, and a little brilliance flashed in his eyes. He said, "This person is different from the ninth son of the Mahist clan. The Dawn Moon Building's master is a businesswoman. She only weighs the pros and cons in her heart, not favors. A good relationship cannot be exchanged for anything. In the future, when the Buddha mountain is faced with a great disaster, the Dawn Moon Building's master will most likely choose to stand by and do nothing. She will not help wholeheartedly for a favor." What about the ninth son of the Mahist clan? What's different about him? Why did the heavenly Buddhist master treat him so differently? His actions in the ancient battlefield are enough to show that he is definitely a ruthless person, the Earth Buddha master said, puzzled. Different. Heavenly Buddha Lord shook his head and said, "It is not easy to make someone who does not believe in Buddhism kneel before Buddha. Although this boy is cruel, he is also very compassionate. The idea of the afterlife is illusory, and no one except for the people of Buddhism believes in it. This boy is willing to come to Buddha Mountain for a possibility that he himself does not believe in. It can be seen that the ninth son of Mahist is not as cold and heartless as the legends say. Moreover, the power of merit in him is unprecedented in this world. A person with such great merit must be very kind. Buddha Mountain will soon face a great calamity, and if this boy remembers the kindness of Buddha Mountain, he will definitely come back to help." The Earth Buddha Master and the Human Buddha Master heard this and looked thoughtful. Could it be that they were wrong? In the red one-star region, white fog spread for tens of thousands of miles. In front of the white fog, a red-clothed figure appeared. After dozens of years, when she returned, she was covered in frost. At the edge of the star region, the Een Gue clan, a famous sect in the red one-star region, was covered in blood clouds and burning the sky. The red-clothed figure descended from the sky, abandoning the mercy of saving the world. Her body was surging with murderous intent, and her aura was so terrifying that it made people tremble. After today, the Een Gue clan will be erased from the world. The trapping immortal fell and stabbed into the ground. Red light filled the sky, sealing the sky and locking the earth. In the next moment, the red-clothed figure slowly descended and stood on the sword. His black hair danced in the wind, and his cold and deep eyes did not have a trace of emotion. The phoenix moved and killed, and the people were plunged into misery and suffering. In the several halls of the Een Gue clan, the heavenly concubines were shocked. They looked at the figure on the sword, and their bodies unconsciously trembled. It was him. Chapter 824. Een Gue sect's phoenix descended, full of killing intent. Phoenix flames surged around its body, illuminating the sun and turning the entire horizon blood-red. On Immortal Trapping Mountain, red light spread out, sealing off all paths of retreat. In the Een Gue sect's sacred palace, the Een Gue sect master opened her eyes, got up, and walked to the front of the sacred palace. Looking at the red-clothed figure descending from the sky in the distance, ripples flashed through her beautiful eyes. "Is he the person Danji took away back then?" asked Een Gue sect master. "Master, it's him," replied Een Gue holy maiden. "Do you know who he is?" asked Een Gue sect master coldly. "Disciple doesn't know." Een Gue holy maiden shook her head. "Mogate's ninth son," said Een Gue sect master coldly. Een Gue holy maiden's body shook, her eyes filled with disbelief. In front of Een Gue sect, the 7 holy maidens all moved out. Lutes, zither, swords, and other spiritual artifacts all displayed their might as they worked together to block the intruder. "Back down." Ning Chen's expression turned cold. Genesis Supreme appeared in his right hand, and with a slash, an unparalleled sword might surged out, sending the 7 holy maidens flying. Ugh! There was no suspense. With the absolute difference in strength, the 7 holy maidens were sent flying with a single slash. Ning Chen strode past them, not giving them another glance as he walked toward Een Gue sect master's sacred hall. Yin sect master took a step forward, her body like a startled swan. Her palm was surrounded by an aura as it slammed towards the person in front of her. Ning Chen's figure shot out, his sword opening the gate of heaven. He did not dodge, directly receiving the attack. Ultimate martial dazzling world was incomparably sharp. The sword light slashed apart the pink aura and sent the woman flying with a boom. Yin sect master retreated several steps. Blood dripped from her jade-white arm, dyeing her gauze dress red. Mogate's ninth son, my Yin sect has no enmity with you. Why must you be so ruthless? Yin sect master looked at the red-clothed youth in front of her. Ning Chen did not speak. Genesis Supreme spun in his right hand, shining with dazzling azure light. An abnormally powerful sword pressure spread, and his killing intent flourished. Yin sect master's expression darkened as anger flashed across her charming face. She circulated her true essence and stirred the Yin Qi between heaven and earth to gain the initiative by striking first. She was surrounded by a pink mist that could arouse one's desires. The Yin sect's secret technique, the art of seduction, was directed toward the knowing destiny state. Sword art, chaotic nothingness. Ning Chen brandished his sword, and nothing seemed out of the ordinary. However, wherever the sword light passed, its power could devour the heavens and destroy the earth. The pink powder couldn't stop it, and they were all devoured. Yin sect master blocked the attack, but with a muffled groan, he retreated several steps. The gap between them was indescribable. She was the sect master of a sect, a beauty that could topple the world, and a famous true realm expert. But at this moment, she seemed so insignificant that she couldn't even control her own life. Sword art, extreme heaven. Genesis Supreme moved once more, and the winds and clouds of the 9 heavens shifted. Extreme sword might swept out from Ning Chen's body, and the heavens instantly changed color. The space for 100 li around him became a domain of the sword, and with a single slash, the heavens split open. Yin sect master's expression changed dramatically, and a look of fear appeared on her devastatingly beautiful face. She pushed her true essence to the limit and blocked the sword power falling from the sky. Arg! With a mournful groan, the sword light pierced through her body, bringing out a beautiful waterfall of blood. Yin sect master's chest was bleeding profusely, and he retreated again and again. Femme fatale, an extremely beautiful woman, in front of absolute power, couldn't change her fate. The blood that spilled on the ground was so dazzling and beautiful. Heavily injured, Yin sect master's knees involuntarily fell to the ground, and he coughed with difficulty. Young master, please show mercy. Yin sect is willing to submit. Yin sect saintess also knelt down and said in fear. No need. Ning Chen's gaze swept across the pill room not far away, and he said, I've already said that after today, Yin sect will disappear from the world forever. You can all be buried with Murong. With that, Genesis Supreme swept across Ning Chen's hand, and an indescribable sword pressure rapidly spread out. The sword light was dazzling, illuminating the world. Feeling the terrifying sword pressure from the former, Yin sect master's pupils shrank, and he forcefully supported his heavily injured body and thrust out a palm, wanting to stop the sword move from being born. However, it was already too late. Under the terrifying sword pressure, streaks of sword light appeared out of thin air, shaking off the palm power, and its power rose to the extreme. 6 Daos fall, myriad demonic tribulations, supreme forbidden sword. With a step, he entered the 9 heavens, followed by tens of thousands of swords. The swords that covered the sky converged into a terrifying sword storm, as if it was the end of the world, and the world mourned. Doomsday Calamity. The calamity appeared, and the tens of thousands of swords rumbled down. The sky sank, and the earth was destroyed. The sword light destroyed everything within several hundred li of Yin sect, and large cracks appeared. Waves of dust surged, and the bottom couldn't be seen. Rumble. With a loud sound, several halls of Yin sect collapsed, completely becoming history. Blood flowed from the cracks, and the spiritual energy of the collapsed divine weapons gradually dissipated. The enchanting beauty also turned into a skeleton. This life and death hatred finally ended with destruction. In the sky, Ning Chen's figure slowly descended. He clenched his right hand, and not far away, the immortal trapping sword flew back. The red light that filled the sky dissipated, and the sealed world also returned to normal. Their remaining power belongs to you, Ning Chen said indifferently. Many thanks, Master. The great devils flew out of the soul-suppressing banner and scattered, beginning to devour the remaining power of Yin Gui sect's women. Half an hour later, the great devils flew back into the soul-suppressing banner. Ning Chen walked out of Yin Gui sect, and after 100 steps, he turned back and slashed down. The earth rumbled, and all the corpses on the ground were swallowed up. There was so much hatred when they were alive, but after death, all of it returned to dust. This sword was the final respect for the dead. Not long after Ning Chen left, 4 figures descended from the sky above Yin Gui sect's ruins. The man in the lead was dressed like a scholar, and he held a folding fan. He was Heaven Mending Pavilion's current martial leader, Qi Wenzhu. I'm late. Qi Wenzhu looked down at the completely destroyed Yin Gui sect and said coldly. Just who was it that had such terrifying strength? We rushed over as soon as we received the news, but we still couldn't make it in time. A grand elder of Heaven Mending Pavilion said. It was Mo Gate's 9th son. Qi Wenzhu looked at the sword intent that still hadn't scattered. The other 3 were shocked. Was it that youth that had slaughtered the ancient battlefield? Martial leader, what should we do? Asked the grand elder of Heaven Mending Pavilion. Qi Wenzhu was silent. After a moment, he slowly said, chase after him. If we can lure him to Heaven Mending Pavilion, then that's the best. If we can't, then kill him. The 3 nodded. One of the women said, Qi Fei's death is most likely caused by this child. It's best to bring him back alive and give Pavilion Master an explanation. We'll act according to the circumstances. Qi Wenzhu's expression became serious, and he said, you all have to be careful. Don't underestimate him. This child's strength is extraordinary. Even if you all join hands, you won't be able to take advantage of him. Once you fight, you have to attack with all your strength. Don't give him a chance to counterattack. We understand. The 3 replied. After the discussion, the 4 moved, rushing towards the sword Qi and Phoenix flames. 100 li away, Ning Chen was walking alone. He didn't feel any danger. Suddenly, his eyes narrowed, and he looked back. Brother, please wait. As he spoke, 4 people appeared behind him. Qi Wenzhu was the first to speak. It's you. Ning Chen narrowed his eyes. He hadn't expected to meet Wu Kuei of Heaven Mending Pavilion so soon. Brother Ning, where are you going? Why don't you come to my Heaven Mending Pavilion for a chat? After the Battle of the Nether Hall, I didn't have time to invite you to my Heaven Mending Pavilion. Qi Wenzhu smiled. There's no need. I still have matters to attend to, said Ning Chen calmly. Meeting each other is fate. There is no need for Brother Ning to be so distant. This place is not far from my Heaven Mending Pavilion. Drinking a cup won't take up too much of Brother Ning's time, Qi Wenzhu said with a sincere expression. A straightforward person doesn't resort to insinuations. If you don't have anything else, then I'll take my leave first. Ning Chen didn't want to say anything more, so he turned around and left. Was it you who destroyed the Yin Gui sect? Qi Wenzhu's expression sank. Yes, said Ning Chen. What about Qi Fei? Was it you who killed him? Qi Wenzhu's expression became even colder. Yes, said Ning Chen. You really don't want to refute a single word, snorted Qi Wenzhu. It was me. What's there to refute, said Ning Chen indifferently. If that's the case, then there's no need to say anything more. Kill. With a command, the three venerables mending Tian attacked first. Their palms were as boundless as the ocean, and in the blink of an eye, they had already arrived in front of Ning Chen. They had already prepared for this, so they attacked with all their might without any mercy. Ning Chen's eyes narrowed. He stepped forward, and his figure became like an illusion as he dodged the first wave of attacks. Just as he was about to counterattack, a folding fan swept past him like a divine weapon. Huh! Ning Chen's figure turned, and he dodged the attack again. Before he could use his sword, the three venerables mending Tian's palms arrived once again. Their tacit cooperation was flawless. Even someone as strong as a life-knowing expert was caught in a dilemma. Ning Chen's steps turned, and he dodged the attacks again and again. His expression became colder and colder. I didn't come for you, but you came for me first. Then leave your lives behind. The phoenix appeared, and the green cauldron appeared, blocking the three venerables' palms. In the blink of an eye, Taisha appeared in Ning Chen's hand. Sword chi surged like waves, and a sword split the sky. Seeing this, Qi Wenju's expression changed slightly. His figure flashed, and a white light rose from his folding fan, blocking the sword light. With a boom, the sword light dissipated. Qi Wenju also took half a step back, and his blood and qi surged. Calm ocean current. His opponent's ability was beyond his expectations. Qi Wenju did not dare to delay any longer. He used his most powerful move, and waves surged behind him. Immediately, the waves reached the sky, and a majestic aura swept out, pressing down on the people in front of him. Sword technique, prairie fire. Waves surged, and phoenix flames rose. Ning Chen's sword appeared, and flames burned the world. The two opposing forces collided, and an indescribably terrifying shockwave spread out. The wasteland's landscape changed instantly, and everything was scorched. Eh! With a muffled groan, Qi Wenju took a few steps back from the shockwave. Blood dripped from the corner of his mouth. The art of water and fire was half a move behind. On the other side, the three venerables mending Tian were also affected. They took a few steps back, and barely managed to stabilize their bodies. I will go to the mending Tian pavilion you speak of, but only after I send you on your way. Ning Chen walked out from the mist that filled the sky. He looked at the four people in front of him and said coldly, "You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.